Hear myself. Wait, how's the sound? Hear myself. Wait, how's the sound? Hear myself. Ooh. Wait, how's the sound? Hear myself. Ooh. Wait, I don't know if I liked it. Ooh. Wait, I don't know if I liked it. I don't know if I liked it. Yeah, that's annoying. Every time I bang my desk, yeah, that's annoying. It's picked up. Every time I bang my desk, shit. Yeah, that's annoying. It's picked up. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, actually, I kind of want to watch that. Yo, what's up, Smelly? Going on, dog? Yeah, I know. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I'm on a different setup, as you can see. I'll have to figure it out as I go. Like I said, I'll be wasn't lying when I said I'd be traveling. So the audio it's gonna take some dialing in. Every time I hit my desk, you're gonna feel that. Yeah, sorry about that. I know, sorry. I was going to go live, but I got busy. Been busy, but we're locking back in. Yeah, dude. I can't hear myself with these headphones on. Maybe I just won't wear them. Different headphones. I don't have the Hi-Fi Man Edition XS's with the Bio K7 DAC amp, 4.4 balanced triple win audio cable. These are just normal Audio Technica studio headphones. But we make do. So I only have one monitor. I'm reading chat off of my laptop too. So I need to wait, let me change the settings on this. Bing bong. Bing bong. Chatbot. Oh, here we go. Bing bong, bing bong. Badges, yeah. Platform, yeah. That. I could show users pronouns, lol. Yeah, that's good. Cool. Actually, I should log in on here too. Anyway, I might as well just pull up the thing. Oh, look at that. It's right there. Dude, this is really gonna kind of bother me. I like being able to hear myself. You know? I can't really hear myself with these on. Wait, hang on. I need to pull this back up. Yeah, you watch. Oh, what's up, Dondre? You watch this live? Piers? Yeah, I've only seen the fallout. I haven't seen the full thing. I've seen some clips. Dude, talk about Groiper curse. Piers is getting exposed for being a total cuck. It's brutal, man. It's been completely brutal. What is that? Wait. What? Okay, it's gone. What was that homepage for Bray? Do you guys see that? What's going on there? Trying to bait gooners? Wait, what?
Hey, I'm Riley and welcome to GameStop. Today I'm here to talk about trading your old consoles, games, and accessories to GameStop. Bring them in and we'll assess the condition, then give you cash or store credit. We accept a wide range of video games.
Wait, that's great. Yeah, she was literally in the Best Buy ad. I remember, yeah. Damn. Bro, we've lived long enough to see corporations fighting over mid e-girls. Wild. You were laughing through the whole interview? Bro, I heard it's goated. I heard it's goated. Anyway, let's just jump straight into it.
Immorality.
How's the audio? How's the audio? Because, like I said, this is what I'm working with here.
You're a New York Times reader,
Is this a good balance?
fan, a Daily Wire subscriber, or an avid consumer of all things Tucker Carlson. For several months now, there's been no avoiding the subject of Nick Fuentes. And let's be clear, the main reason you're hearing about it is because he's popular. A large number of people, especially young men, are interested in what he has to say. What that says about our society and our culture is the subject of ferocious debate for many people.
You know, the funny thing is about Piers getting exposed, dude. It's like nobody's gonna listen to what this guy has to say. He's a literal cuck. His wife fucks other guys, man. End of story. Opinion discarded. This guy's gonna talk about, oh, this is what a man should be. This is what a man believes. Your wife is sleeping with other dudes, man. Like, get your shit in check. That's like, it's so over for Piers Morgan, man. It's crazy. It's like, bruh.
Of an insidious immorality. For others, he's a product of a culture which has turned on its own and left many young people feeling listless and bitter. He's either a litmus test for right-wing hypocrisy on free speech or a walking, talking manifestation of where the lines should be drawn. And a frankly preposterous amount of airtime has been spent on debating everything from his ideology to his sexuality and whether anyone should actually talk to him at all.
If I were writing a glossary entry on the Streisand effect, I wouldn't put a picture of her next to it. I would put a picture of
Yes, the free press. Where's Barry Weiss?
Do so when it comes to Nazis like Nick Fuentes.
Fuentes takes this guy apart brick by brick. It's a full takedown.
My concern is that people who are a bit more moderate are deeply alarmed by Nick Fuentes.
I was very happy to see that, like, Nick Fuentes really passed that test with flying colors.
That fragmentation is being caused purposefully by a splinter faction of people led by a young man named Nick Fuentes.
That's the war. Can you get the beef prices down? Not crazy things.
Mr. Zodiac.
That Nick Fuentes.
Israel killed Charlie Kirk. Are you trolling?
Other loons say on social media.
Well, it looks like all the screaming about Nick Fuentes on the internet is finally dying down a little bit.
So now we had on this guy, this Fuentes guy, and never challenged him.
You should have Nick Fuentes on your show and you could ask him questions about that.
The truth is, it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend all this time talking about Nick Fuentes, but not actually to Nick Fuentes. People who say you shouldn't give him a platform overlook the very obvious fact that he already has a platform of his own, which is often bigger than most of the people complaining. And he uses it to speak unchallenged to his many followers. It's on that basis that I've invited him to appear live and uncensored on my platform. And Nick Fuentes joins me now. Nick Fuentes, welcome to Uncensored.
Hi, great to be with you.
I don't know you. I don't think we've ever met. You can correct me if that's wrong. I know about you. I know that increasingly people are talking about you in a more mainstream environment than you may be used to. So for those of you who know nothing about Nick Fuentes, I want this to be an opportunity to get to the real person. I don't know who that person is, but I do want to use this opportunity to get there. I've seen you talk, as we prepared for this, in exchanges with people and on your show, saying you fear it's going to be very hostile, it's going to be an ambush, all those kind of things. I don't intend it to be overtly hostile. I don't intend to ambush you.
I mean, wait, hang on a second. He says, I don't intend for it to be overtly hostile. I don't intend to ambush you. Did we not just hear this preamble that was overtly hostile? Like, what? What's going on here? Did he just, like, forget that he said all that?
I intend it to be an examination of what you said on the record, an examination of what you believe or what you say you believe, and an examination of what your rising popularity says about the state of the conservative movement in America. So those are my goals from this interview. What are your goals? Why are you doing it?
I thought it'd be interesting. And, you know, you've talked a lot about me on your show over the years, and this is the first time you actually extended the invitation. I think it might be the second, actually. I think we talked about doing it during A24 a few years ago, but you've talked a lot about me with the panel, and now you've extended the invitation to talk to me. And I think it'd be interesting for me to maybe clarify some positions and maybe get to know you a little better as well. So I'm looking forward to it.
There is a belief that you have two personas. There's one that you roll out now for podcasts and for shows like mine, where you come across as reasonable. And then there's your show on Rumble, where you often come across as having, you know, a very unreasonable view on things. This is what Coleman Hughes said about you.
Nick Fuentes knows exactly what he's doing. He is consciously playing this double game as part of a long-term strategy to become popular enough to take the reins of power, at which point...
Is that audio crackling for everyone? Do you guys hear that?
...to pivot towards the extreme and unpopular policies that he advocates daily on Rumble.
So first of all, what is your response to
that guy? Did this guy not figure out, dude? I know I shouldn't be one to talk, but like basic audio troubleshooting problems just like really fucking piss me off. Fix your microphone, bro.
Well, first of all, I would say that Coleman Hughes is a propagandist. He works for the Free Press, which is run by Barry Weiss. So I think you have to consider the source. And Barry Weiss is a pro-Israel partisan. Free Press is just bought out by CBS for $150 million by Larry Ellison or his son David Ellison. And so I think that's coming from a particular point of view. We can't pretend like that's coming from a vacuum or from some fixed position. That's coming from a propaganda outlet that's in favor of Israel. That's first. But second, I would say he is right about the two personas. And I think that everybody understands this on some level. On my show, I make jokes and I use rhetoric and I'm hyperbolic because for a long time I had an audience that was small on these like dissident platforms. I was on D Live for many years. A lot of people don't even know what that is. And so I had a small following and we had sort of like an in-group sense of humor and memes and things like that. And you talk about it one way on a freewheeling live stream when I'm by myself and I'm ranting and we make jokes and we play devil's advocate, we play with different positions. But then when you sit down in an interview like this one and people ask me a good faith question, what do you actually believe? Well, then I clarify and I say, well, here I'm not joking. Here I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not being rhetorical. I'll tell you precisely what I believe. As far as this idea that I'm going to get power and then turn into Hitler, that just sounds totally insane to me. I'll be honest. It just sounds insane.
Do you have aspirations for political power?
Not really. I think that if I wanted to run for office, I wouldn't say a lot of the things that I say. I don't know that a lot of people would vote for me. I tend to offend everybody, even a lot of people that like me. So no, I'm a truth teller. I like to tell the truth. I like to do my live stream.
The people will demand. The people will demand Nick Fuentes. And he will have to humbly, but reluctantly accept the position to be the Supreme Emperor of the United Kingdom of America, the United Empire of America, the Supreme Leader of Earth, the Supreme Leader of the Galaxy, Leader of the White Race, Nick Fuentes. And him being a humble king he would have to accept it. He would have to, in a very demure way, accept the invitation and lead us all to glory. Yo, what's up, SSB? Yeah, I'm in a new setup for the time being. I'm out of town, so yeah, hopefully everything sounds all right. Hopefully everything is good. Yeah, RKD, yeah. RKD and all that. I know, like, that's one of those things that, you know, optically, not to be an optics cuck, but even Nick said, it's like, yeah, you know, maybe we should tone some of that down. But it's true, RKD, got RKD and all that. Yeah, supreme leader of our democracy, of our great and wonderful democracy that nobody can question. Morgan was a disaster for Morgan. Everything I've seen from Twitter, Nick has just been clip farming, just totally farmed this retarded boomer, this retarded cuck boomer. Like, honestly, man, you couldn't ask for like a greater outcome. Like, Piers Morgan came into this interview smug, you know, clearly contemptuous, and he's going to try to moralize towards Nick. He's going to try to make these, you know, he's going to get on his, dude, I can't like think. I can't hear myself with these things. You know, he's going to try to argue from a moral position. Meanwhile, he's, you know, some of the stuff he was saying, and we'll get to it, but, you know, saying like, oh, Nick needs to get laid, and this is the problem with incels. It's like, dude, people don't care what you have to say because your wife fucks other dudes. Okay. All right. End of story. End of story. Like, you don't have to go any further than that. You don't have to go into his like his retarded boomer worldview, his moralizing. Like, somebody like Piers Morgan thinks that like the victory condition is somehow getting his opponent to admit that he's racist. And I know this is not new information. This has been, if you've been in this space for a while, you've sort of, you've made this observation that a lot of these liberals think that the checkmate, you know, ace up their sleeve is to like call their opponent a racist, to try and like box them into this position that, you know, ultimately their opponent doesn't want to defend. They don't like the framing. And so they try to, you know, but they still operate within that framing of being a racist is the worst thing ever. You know, this is really nothing new. It's tired. You would think that maybe they would evolve. But it just goes to show, like, you know, these people, and particularly people like Piers, these boomers, their worldview doesn't change. It hasn't changed at all. Like, Piers Morgan, I would say, like, in 2025, is it really any different than Piers Morgan like 10 years ago? Probably not. Maybe he's a little more, you know, what would you say, woke, because he doesn't want to get bullied. So, like, you know, maybe he's like more in favor of transgenderism or whatever than I don't know his position on that, than he otherwise would be. But frankly, it's like for everyone else, like, yeah, people's worldviews have developed quite a bit in the last 10 years. How could they not? If you're not constantly reassessing, reevaluating your worldview, are you really doing your job? Are you really doing enough? Because you're constantly exposed to new information. You're constantly, you know, we're all living life. We're all experiencing new things. We're experiencing more. We have more information to draw from. So if you're not constantly learning more about the world and refining or reevaluating your worldview, it's like, what are you doing? And so this whole like, you're racist, checkmate. That's like, dude, guess what, man? Everyone's racist. It's 2025, and they're only going to get more racist. I hate to break it to you, man. You think people are racist now, just you wait. Just you wait. Just wait another 2 years. Another 2 years. It's like, you know, I'm reading the news. And like over the past 2 days, you had Microsoft pledging $17 billion for Indian development. Amazon did the same thing. They doubled that, more than doubled that, to $35 billion in investments in India. They want to bring 1 million more jobs. Read the room, buddy. Look at where things are going. So it's just like, I don't really think Piers knows. A lot of liberals are just like really out of touch. A lot of boomers, of course. That's like a deadly combo. Being a liberal boomer is just like, you don't know shit about anything. But it's like they make this assumption that everybody agrees with them. That's one thing that's really like irritating about liberals, is they always just assume, unless they're walking into like literal Hicktown, USA, they just kind of assume people agree with them, and that all they need to do is virtue signal, say some trite shit like Trump is such a bigoted racist, and then everybody claps. You know, that's like it's very female coded. You know, because that's like how women tend to act. You know, they think that they dream of that go off moment where it's like everything freezes and a spotlight comes down on them and they get up on their little soapbox and they say, racism is bad. And then everybody claps. And it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Yeah, we're past that, man. Nobody cares. Everybody's racist. So that really just has set the tone already. His wife's boyfriend with thick thighs. Dude, the expose, the revelations about Piers Morgan's wife that have come out of this are nothing short of delicious. It's like, dude. But I can't say I'm surprised. If Nick had 5 baby mamas, Piers would use that against him as well. Of course. That's why, dude, like, if Nick were like this is how fucking shitty these people are. Like, there's no consistency. If Nick is a devout Catholic, what does that mean? Okay, fornication's bad. You avoid fornication. Straight up. So, you know, there's this whole like degenerate worldview of, oh, he needs to get laid. It's like, okay, well, clearly there's just this disregard for Nick's religion, his faith, his morality. And if Nick lived a life, if Nick were to go out, and you're 100% right, if Nick were to go out and do that and were to plow through a bunch of hoes, what would be the predictable argument Piers would make? Oh, some Catholic you are. But with these fucking people, there's no winning. There's no good faith. There's no consistency. They will use your own morality, your own worldview against you if it's beneficial to them. So that's why I think Nick clearly had the best plan. He had the best mindset going into this. It was not going to be good faith. Really, and it shows, he went in here to just farm Piers. To just like bully, not, I shouldn't say bully, but like to just like make fun of him and just like laugh at Piers to his stupid fucking face. Because that's what you need to do with these people. You know, they're not good faith. They're not consistent. So it's sort of like beating them in debate it's not even really worth your time because they're not serious opponents. For people like this, it's better to just humiliate them. And that's exactly what happened here. Piers Morgan is utterly humiliated. And there's nothing he can really say to defend himself. What is he going to say? What can he... Because everybody knows sort of instinctually that like being a cuck is pretty gay and lame and not desirable. What can Piers say to defend himself? How is he going to reframe this? How could he possibly spin his embarrassing relationship with his whore wife? What position is Piers really in? You know what they say, you know, those who live in glass houses shouldn't cast stones. So he should, if he were a little more self-aware, he would have identified the skeletons in his closet. But again, he's lacking in self-awareness, and maybe he doesn't fully see the problem with being such a pathetic cuck. But his audience certainly does. So Morgan thinks he has these gotcha moments to his audience. Yeah, it's the arrogance. It's the assumption that everybody fucking agrees with him. And he's totally lost the plot. Dude, most people agree with Nick. It's not even close. Most people are closer to Nick, even like Gen Xers, than they are to Piers Morgan. Okay? That's okay. That's actually that's actually just such a Nick mannerism I just said there. You know how like Nick will go on some like, when he's like making a point, you know, he's like reading an article and the New York Times will go on to say that, you know, Larry Ellison is an ardent Zionist. Okay. You know, he'll I just noticed that. You know, you watch hours of any like streamer, you will pick up on their mannerisms. That's totally true. Like I was watching like Burnt Peanut the other day, and like a lot of my friends watch him because he's just, I don't know how he has so much energy. But, you know, it's got the whole like Discord chat going, the goop. What? Anyway. What the fuck changes some stupid chicken head is sucking on it. What? Like some of these guys pay for women and they think being a virgin is bad. Dude, just analyze that for 2 seconds. First of all, women are not a commodity. Okay? What does that mean? It means like getting like women are not difficult. They're really not. Maybe for somebody like who's a sub 5, getting laid is an achievement. But to me, that's like giving desperation. That's giving pathetic. Like if you're so self-obsessed at getting women's approval, you are weak. Why do you give a shit? Like really? Like why do you care so much what women think or their approval of you? You know, and that's where like Chads totally get it. You think Chads give a shit? They know what women are. They know that they have access to women in that kind of way. And they don't really give a shit what they think. It's like this obsession about getting laid. It's like you can go out, you can find some ogre, and you could pipe that Shrek down, and then you can check off that checkbox. And do you get laid, chud? It's like look at Vosh. This is a deep pull. You ever like see like Vosh was like bragging? If you don't know who Vosh is, he's like this turbo libtard retard. What does he call himself? A socialist libertarian? What the fuck does that even mean? It's like two contradictory things, but whatever. And like he brags about, oh yeah, I could pull up Tinder and I could get laid like in an hour. And it's like, have you seen like one of the like there was this leak, I shouldn't say leak, but like there was like this naked woman that appeared on a stream, and she's like this fat, disgusting, grotesque creature, like sub 1. And it's like, these are the people making fun of you like for not getting laid, essentially, or accusing you of not getting laid, whatever. These are the guys that are pedestalizing getting laid, and they're fucking the absolute gutter trash. And they think they're all that. It's like, dude. Oh man. So yeah, Piers Morgan, sure, yeah, you know, you're married and you know, you're presumably having sex with your wife when you have enough good boy points banked up. But it's like, look at what your wife is, man. So really sad. Pride. Yeah. Piers gives me Principal Office vibes where I'm trying not to laugh. Dude, it's just like, it's just pathetic. You know, guys like this, like Piers, are just pathetic. And frankly, they disgust me. Because he does not have, first of all, if you're a liberal, like that's an L, but there are liberals out there that have like the intellect to back it up, that are interesting to talk to, that are maybe good faith. Ultimately, I think if you're a liberal, you're not really all there yet. Like you haven't sort of gotten to like the sort of the fundamental nature of our existence, or just some of these observations that are, I think, very contrary, or would make it very difficult if you were honest to maintain a liberal worldview. But whatever, there are smart liberals out there. It can only really exist in a vacuum. Like liberalism, you know, the way that we see it now, sort of modern progressive liberalism, can only exist in a sheltered state. It does not survive contact with reality, with the outside world, because you really can't reconcile your liberal worldview with why like Africans are eating dirt. Like, you know, is it really a matter of education? Is it really like, how many missionaries are going to go over? Like, how many missionaries does it take to go over to Africa to teach these people not to eat dirt? At what point is it just like, maybe that's something you should just kind of know not to do? You shouldn't eat dirt. So maybe like assuming everybody has the same innate capacity to understand things is a mistake. It's not how we should look at things. And it's not, but that's like an uncomfortable thing. That's like a very uncomfortable, you know, position to hold, because it's unfair. And it is what it is, but it's true. So we really can't be emotional about it. And people like Piers Morgan are just like, they're just emotional, pathetic, weak men. Anyway, scaring the hoes, top tier activity. Yeah. You gotta scare the hoes, man. Anyway.
Who is Nick Fuentes? Tell me about your upbringing. I know you grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. Tell me about your early years.
Sure. Or early how? Like my childhood or a little bit later?
Yeah, your childhood, yeah.
I don't want to do this again.
Well, I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago in LaGrange Park, as you say. My
I might
parents
2X
are ethnics. You know, my father's half Mexican, half
I don't know how many times.
And they both came from a pretty rough upbringing themselves.
I don't know how many times I can like listen to the same. You know, what origin story?
Single mothers, not because of divorce, but because both of their fathers had died. They endured a lot of dysfunction. And I think that's one of the reasons they came together and they related to each other and they wanted to create a normal upbringing for their children. They wanted to have a normal family life. And so they moved out to LaGrange Park away from the city and they raised me and my sister. And
I also know that all of you guys have watched this already, so
that's a big reason why I tend to
I
have
might just
Christian values.
set the baseline at 1.5.
My mother quit her job and stayed at home to raise us. And so I have a very close relationship with my parents, with my sister. We're a very tight family. And we grew up in a pretty idyllic town. And maybe we can sort of get into a conversation about politics from this. I love my upbringing. My mom stayed at home. My dad was working. We're in a mostly white suburb in Chicago. Everybody was maybe half Catholic, half Protestant. It was a baseball town. I played baseball for many years. In Chicago, we love our hot dogs. We have our baseball parade and get a hot dog. And so I love where I came from. I love the city. It's a working class city. I love the people here. They're very good, humble, down-to-earth, decent people. And I guess I had my political, not to jump ahead, but this is a big part of where my political awakening came from. I sort of left this bubble, if you could call it that, when I went to college in 2016. I went to
The
Boston
Lego
University,
version.
And I read a lot of things online.
Yeah, we've seen the Lego version. We've seen the Minecraft version. We've seen the Quagmire version. We've seen it all. We've. What's going to be the latest entry into the Nickverse? We've got Black Nick. We've got Roman Empire Nick. We've got Chinese Nick. And they all have the same origin story. You know, it's like, yeah.
It does not look like LaGrange Park. It doesn't look like Western Springs or Hinsdale or Elmhurst. It looks very different. The country's undergoing a radical transformation because of immigration. And so I saw that and I said, this is not really a
the only way we get through all this.
The South Side of Chicago or the West Side or LA or certain parts of Boston as much as I like where I came from. And I guess that's what made me an American nationalist. I said, I want to preserve my home and the things that are familiar to me and the things I like about my home. What makes it America? So that's a little bit about my background. I don't know where you want to go with that, but
well, my first obvious question is, were your parents immigrants to the United States, or were their parents, or were their grandparents? In other words, at some stage, I presume, there were immigrants in your family who came to the US. Is that correct?
There were. I believe my mother was fourth generation and my father was third generation. So their ancestors came here on my mom's side in the 1860s, I believe, the first wave of Italian immigration. My father's ancestors, I think they came around the turn of the century in 1900.
So your view of immigration, and we'll get to the specifics about your views on immigration, are they not affected at all by the fact that if it wasn't for immigration, you wouldn't exist as an American?
Well, I would certainly exist, but like I said, maybe not as an American. Certainly that's influenced in some measure. But I think that the kind of immigration that we had for a long time in the country, it's different than the
immigration from Europe.
Let's just say for openers, it's different immigrants. They're coming from a different place with a different culture, a different religion. It's not the same as it was. So first, you have a qualitative difference.
And you have a quantitative one. There's way too many of them coming in right now.
In Italy, one from Mexico. They came from Europe. They came from a society where there's a common ancestry, there's a common religion, common civilization. The people that have come in since 65, since Hart-Celler, they're coming from China, India, the Northern Triangle, Mexico, Venezuela. And so first, they're just different people. Secondly, it's a quantitative difference. There's way more, and it's an unceasing, always increasing wave. For the first 3 or 4 waves of immigration, you would have a major influx of immigrants, and then it would stop. And then you'd have another wave, and then it would stop. This one, it just keeps going up for 35 years. And it's too many. So that's really where I would draw the distinction between maybe where I originate from. I would even just simply call that immigration. What this is an invasion. It's a completely different policy.
But you mentioned you mentioned Mexico in that list, and your father is half Mexican. So
yeah,
I mean, by your criteria, part of the invasion would include your father, presumably, and his immediate descendants.
You know the funny thing about I saw it today. There was this poll. Maybe I did bookmark it. And, you know, you have to take polls with a grain of salt. Let me see if I can find it. I don't want to completely derail everything, but I saw that out of the different Christian groups, yeah. I guess I didn't bookmark it. Yeah. In America, the only, and obviously there's we have to unpack this a little bit. The only group that had a favorable view of Trump's immigration policy were Catholic Hispanic. So everyone else had a negative view, but Catholic Hispanics had a positive view. Now, obviously, if you're based in red pill, you know that like Trump's immigration policy is not what it's claiming to be. But I doubt that all the pollsters know that. You know, they really believe in the rhetoric. So it is to say that there are a lot of I know, take this with a grain of salt, but a lot of like traditional Hispanics that, especially ones that have been here for a while, are very much against immigration. So, anyone see the clip of Erica Kirk saying that the judicial system? Yeah, talk about a Freudian slip. The judicial system. We'll get to that. Maybe what do you guys? What should we talk about today? I was gonna get through this. It's 2 hours, so this will take like 6 hours to get through, realistically. But I also want to talk about like the ongoing drama in the right wing, or the whole like noticer conspiracy theory. It's in my title, crowd. You know, and what I think is going on there, and who's right and who's wrong. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. Venezuela got oil robbed. Yeah, I saw the DOW's their little action edit of Spec Ops guys boarding that tanker. So I did see that. So we'll see. Look, it is bizarre, and like obviously we know, or maybe I should make that assumption. But I think it's very fair, you know, following America First and everything. Like, we know that Venezuela pretty much gave in to all of Washington's demands. And so it is to say that it very much seems unnecessary for any further military action in Venezuela. To where, and you know, obviously Marco Rubio has this personal vendetta against Venezuela, and he's maybe it's his ideology driving him for a real regime change there to get some American puppet or Western puppet in power in Venezuela. But why does it really matter if we're getting everything out of Venezuela that we want? If they've already said they'll give up the oil, they'll give up the gold, why do we need to go in exactly? That seems like such an enormous risk where the outcome is not entirely clear. Why would we spend all of these resources and time and lives to overthrow a regime? Who knows how tumultuous this would be, for an ultimately uncertain outcome, when we can take a known entity that has already waved the white flag? That to me just seems like poor policy. And I do wonder if this is just a matter of, I don't want to say brinksmanship because it's not really applicable here, but it is a matter of optics to show the rest of Latin America, and maybe even more so some of our other enemies around the world, that we mean business, to try and get other Latin American countries to fall in line, you know, to make an example out of Venezuela. How much of this is a serious escalation with a real intent to put boots on the ground versus optics? Because if we don't have to use our hard power, if we can get by with our soft power, with threat of hard power, that is better. That is better for everyone involved, for the most part, the majority of the time. Because you expend your hard power. When you go into these countries, you're expending munitions. It costs a lot of money, a lot of resources. And it takes a lot of time and effort to replenish those. There's only so much war fighting your military can do. And so as you exert this hard power in a meaningful way, in a certain, especially in a certain place around the world, you're not exerting it elsewhere. You know, what if this devolves into this prolonged guerrilla war in Venezuela? You know, if we don't have decisive victory in Venezuela, that's an enormous embarrassment. It is incredibly embarrassing if we don't have nothing short of like a total and practically uncontested, overwhelming victory. It would be a colossal failure for this administration, considering that Venezuela is like a nothing compared to America. So it seems like a very bad risk. And so I know I'm not the only one that thinks that, and I'm certain there are people in Trump's camp, in his cabinet, that are likely expressing their concerns. And so I think this maximum pressure campaign, you know, really isn't just for Venezuela, but it's for the other Latin American countries, and also our enemies overseas too. We're trying to project power in more ways than one. I don't care anymore. Just take their oil. Well, we should take their shit, but if we can take their shit without firing a shot, I think that's preferred, because we don't quite have the manufacturing base to support all of these conflicts. And I think that you know, if we're serious about maintaining the empire, you know, public support is also important. We can't get bogged down in a war, especially when Trump. So it's more complicated than just, you know, what I want or what. Like, we have to contend with reality. You know, Trump understands it would likely be very unpopular to, you know, to engage in a very real conflict in Venezuela. But I don't know. Maybe I'm giving the administration too much credit. Marco's ultimate goal is Cuba. He wants Venezuela to isolate Cuba. Trump needs to put little Marco in the labubu. Yeah. It's embarrassing, man. But he picked Rubio, man. That's on Trump, dude. This is his administration. They saw what we did to Iran. Yeah, that's so. So it's a bit of a gamble. They're trying to project power. But we'll see what happens. On principle, I'm not opposed to us to military intervention in our backyard. I'm not principally against military intervention in general. But especially for a backyard where it's like in our interests, that's when we should intervene. So I've seen people say that in a multipolar world, Saudi relations will be less and less. Thus, you build Venezuela as your local gas station. You know, Piers was doubling down on Twitter today. Yeah, I saw some of it. Yeah. Does he seriously believe he won? Like, he's getting ratioed by groypers, like little anons are just ratioing him. Like Ramaldis and you know, Suka Groyper and Chief Trumpster got in on that too. Like, buddy, you got cooked, man. Nobody's agreeing with you, man. Or sorry, are we all just Pakistani bots, right? We're not real people. We're just Pakistani bots. Don't you love that? Like, people like Elon are like. Should I pull it up? Like, Elon calls Nick's engagement fake. You know, somebody made the accusation that Nick is farming bots from like Pakistan, and you know, Elon, he piled on, and it's like, dude, you own the platform. So what do you really say? If that were true, doesn't that make you look like the biggest fucking jackass? Like, you can't even properly moderate your own platform to get rid of the bot farms. You know what I'm saying? 6'7". It's like, so What are the two explanations? Either, okay, you're telling the truth and that makes you look like an incompetent oaf, like a total retard that can't even manage the bot problem on your own stupid platform, or you're lying, at which point it's like, you know, well, you're just lying. You're just a liar. You're not telling the truth. And therefore people shouldn't really take you seriously. No. But Elon's an op. Never forget he's a defense contractor. Never forget that, you know, he's part of the PayPal mafia. He's like, you know, he got to start with Peter Thiel. He got seed funding for the CIA with In-Q-Tel. He has top level security clearance. He was a literal government employee in the Trump administration. You can't ignore all these things. So him calling somebody else a Fed is rich. But there has just been this coordinated effort against Nick. And we've all seen this, right? If you've been on Twitter, if you've paid attention, you've all seen this coordinated effort against him between Tucker, Candace, now Ian Carroll's getting involved too. And I really think it's very suspicious how they want Nick to jump on board with this Israel killed Charlie Kirk conspiracy theory. They very much wanted Nick to believe in that. And I think that this op, the intention of this op is to tank the credibility of the right wing, is to neuter the right wing by dividing it up, by shattering it between, just make it ineffective by diluting the truth, getting people to believe in all these retarded conspiracy theories based on little to no evidence that can and then embarrass the right wing to tank their credibility. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And I think that part of the intent behind this was to pressure Nick, you know, chum up to Nick in the way that Tucker did in his interview to try and get Nick to play ball. Ultimately with the intent to rug pull him. Right, that they'll, you know, maybe it'll occur in the trial, but I promise you in time, all of these people saying Israel did the assassination will be embarrassed. They'll simply be proven wrong. But somebody like Candace, it's unbelievable to me that she has any fucking credibility in this day and age, man. It's like, oh, dude, and I know I like bitch about Candace all the time, but it's like, dude, at this point, who isn't involved in the assassination? She is like, I don't like to talk in this kind of in this way very often, but she is truly like, she's evil. What she's doing is evil. Yeah, and she's just a narcissistic, stupid, evil bitch. That's kind of the gist of it. Greta is better than Bella Rittenhouse, unironically, dude. You guys see Kyle Rittenhouse's wife? Bruh. Wait, what is this?
Is trying to like almost like, I want to be clear that Turning Point USA is my family. The Charlie Kirk show is my family. You know, like she's just expanding the wings of people that we're not allowed to critique because they're in the family. If you call them fam, you can't critique them, right? Oh, I'm sorry. We actually are showing a clip of Rob McCoy defending a pedophile or trying to like launder the reputation of that's fam. That's the CK show fam. Oh, I'm sorry. We are actually pointing to the fact that we know for certain that this person or organization is sexual deviant. That's fam. That is my, don't you get me upset. I know that this is a now $150 million in the last 3-month organization and we employ tons of people, but you can't critique. You can't critique the fam. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to be very clear here. This is why there are many people who do not believe that women are equipped to lead companies, because what you are watching here is an unbelievably emotional response that is absent of any logic, okay? If you really care about your team, answer the questions, okay? Just demystify the entire event. Answer, come out, sit down, answer the questions so people don't think Turning Point USA looks so suspicious. Don't try to like mom the organization and say, well, mother's upset because people are coming after her kids and all of this multi-million-dollar subsidiaries. That's my children, okay? The multi-million-dollar subsidiaries, Turning Point.
How do people fucking listen to this every single day? Dude. How? Oh yeah, the facial yeast. Well, that one's been making the rounds again, yeah. Yeah, Keith Woods now reposting the she tried to, in short, she tried to scam her landlord out of 6 months rent, claiming there was a mole that gave her a yeast infection. 6 months. $3,500 a month, by the way. She lost. She had to pay it back. That's the kind of person we're dealing with here, man. She's been scamming and lying her entire fucking career. Since high school. That's the kind of person we're dealing with here. She's always been a scumbag. Surprise. Surprise, surprise. Keith Woods is savage. W. Keefe. W. Keefe. The nerve. Dude, it's always like, what will she be believing next? And here's the thing, man. Even just the way she presents all of this. Does this sound genuine? When she goes on and she's talking about, oh, I don't even know if I want to reveal this yet. You know, I think we might save this for another show. Tune in tomorrow to see what it's like she's leading her audience along. Look, if real investigative journalism, if you've got the goods, present the goods, bitch. But it's like this tabloid, what do you call this? This like clickbaity bullshit. It's like, I don't know if she realizes what she's doing or if she's just too stupid to, but stringing her audience along this ongoing Charlie Kirk investigation, it's how do people not see through it? I mean, I know why, but it's a rhetorical question. But if she were serious and genuine, don't you think she would provide all of the updates as they come in, as soon as she gets them and vets them, whatever vetting she does? I doubt there really is any. So it's just, that's just, I don't even know what to say, man. It's just one thing after another with this fucking bitch, man. This evil bitch. She is ratchet, dusty broad. She would still be in the hood if she didn't marry. No, dude, no. It's not the fact that she married that got her out of the hood. It's the fact that conservatives wanted a token black woman to host their podcast so they could feel better about themselves and somehow prove that they're not racist. Oh, look. I can't be racist. I listen to Candace Owens. Oh, so you're just retarded then. That's worse. I'd rather be racist than be retarded. Is that even a question? Fuck, man. Giving blue balls. Who's Bello Rittenhouse? It's better if you don't know. It's better if you don't know. She's super sexy. She's super hot. W Kyle Rittenhouse. W Kyle. Yeah, totally. Yeah, his wife isn't an overweight trailer trash. Whatever. Keith Woods said Candace don't pay rent, but yeah. Dude, she's been doing this her whole fucking life, man. Doxing her classmates and accusing them of racism in high school. And one of the websites she started, locals.com, that got funded. What was it? The CEO or one of the executive or one of the chief officer positions was former IDF agent. You guys know about that? How about how when she was the face of, what was it? This one banking. What's fuck? I'm blanking on the name of it. Glorify banking. She was the public face entity spokeswoman for Glorify Banking. Got seed funding from Peter Thiel. So if anybody is a fucking spook, if anybody is a Fed, if anybody is an op, it's Candace Owens. It's so rich coming from all these people that fucking glow. Whether it's Candace Owens with all of her shady background, her husband that she married within 18, 17 days of meeting him over Zoom, he's proposing to her. Who's her husband? George Farmer, this multi-millionaire whose father, is a big shot. And not only that, but he's what's the official name of the organization, the Christian Jewish Coalition over in the UK. That's not suspicious at all. That doesn't sound like controlled opposition. Yeah, let's get this woman who has all these ties to the IDF, Peter Thiel, Christian Zionists. Let's get her to be the face of right-wing conservatism or right-wing anti-Zionism, anti-Semitism, whatever you want to call it. That's like textbook definition controlled opposition. Who's the Fed here? Who's more suspicious? Nick Fuentes, whose entire professional life going back to high school has been scrutinized in public, came from humble beginnings, no Fed background, no enormous tens of millions of dollars coming in from seemingly out of fucking nowhere. Or Ian Carroll that literally obscure, came from pure obscurity with his Kabbalah bracelet. Same thing with Tucker, he wears one as well. Look, and I saw that initially. I feel vindicated because I never liked Ian Carroll. So I saw that initially and I clocked that as bullshit. I clocked that as suspicious. Maybe not entirely disqualifying, but dude, I don't know anybody in real life that wears that's worn even a red bracelet, let alone an evil eye bracelet known for Kabbalah. So the fact that you have both Tucker and I don't know if Tucker had an evil eye, but the red bracelet, or Ian Carroll, that they both wear this, that's fucking weird, man. Okay, that's weird. I don't like that. And this is a known tradition too. This is not like super esoteric. That one Jewish influencer, was it Emily Austin, handed Trump a bracelet, same red string bracelet, as part of Jewish mysticism. It's really, it's not like we're really digging deep here. So who's more likely to be a Fed? Tucker Carlson, the guy whose dad was literally one of the top guys in propaganda in the CIA, or Nick Fuentes? Elon Musk, who is literally a Fed. He's literally a CIA asset, a CIA defense contractor. Or Nick Fuentes, a podcaster out of his living room. Like, give me a fucking break. All for the bread, true. That's how most people operate. Candace the type to go to a Diddy party? Real. She freaky like that. Ben Shapiro's fault. He created the candy goal. That's a whole nother connect. Never forget she worked for Ben Shapiro. She literally worked for Benjamin Netanyahu. Think about that for a second. I don't even think she's a golem. I think she is I think she's a useful idiot. I think she's controlled op. I don't even think she's a golem. A golem would be like, yay. She's still on the fucking plantation, so to speak. Monica Lewinsky versus BG is Messiah. Why are you effing? Did something happen? Sorry, I blame Nick. Candace is still in love with Nick. Sorry, Candace. Nick is married to the movement. Married to the fucking game. Oh, your cat jumped on your keyboard? That's crazy. Ian is a white gay knight. I don't trust that guy at all, dude. Yeah. I never liked that guy. I never trusted him. I'm glad he's getting. And understand this, dude. when people get exposed like that, that's actually a good thing. Because a lot of people, they get too emotionally invested in these personalities. And it's like, so a lot of, like, it is like, Candace has kind of developed this cult-like following. Like, they're like the new Q-tards. And people get so emotionally invested, they're not thinking rationally. Like, you could present all this evidence to a Tucker listener, a Candace listener, whatever, and they'll just say some shit like, "Oh, you're just being critical. You just don't like any of these people." Like, no, actually, most of these people are fucking fake. That should concern you. You actually should care who these people are. I know, crazy thinking. But I saw this like one screenshot of this person that commented, I think on like some YouTube video, saying stuff like, you know, why do you care if Candace gets it wrong? She's exposing Israel. That's a good thing. It's like, why do you care about the truth is what you're saying? Wait. Why do you care if this person is getting shit wrong? Oh, I don't know, because maybe the whole purpose of all of this great awakening, this red pilling, is because we're in pursuit of the truth. That's kind of what really matters at the end of the day. Dude, I am like, I swear, man, I'm about to join this, you know, a team Jew here. And it's like the Goyim are so fucking stupid, man. I swear. It's actually crazy. The past week has been just so disgusting to me. These people falling for this low IQ bullshit absolutely fucking disgust me. And I'm so sick of it, man. I've really had it up to here. I've been tired of this for a long time, but it's just getting worse. So like, these people just need to be rooted out, man, for real. They need to be mocked and ridiculed, humiliated. I do not want to associate with these conspiratards. Anyway. Yeah, your cat also hates the replay. Yeah, true. Face cat. Now they're trying to say he's hitting too. Just saw that today. What's hitting? Who's hitting? Wait, what? Anyway. I don't know, man. It's everyone's getting like really tired. Like even moderates are seeing what's going on. I've seen like Asmongold and like Tim Pool call out Candace Owens for being retarded. So like normies are seeing this shit and they're like, what's going on here? What's going on with the conservative movement? That's why I do wonder if the whole thing is just an op to discredit the right wing. Kind of like QAnon, but like worse, more out there, more overt. Oprah 2.0. Worse, dude. I would take Oprah any day of the week over Candace. At least Oprah will like give you a free car or some shit. Candace will just like mug you because she's a hood rat, not pay rent, fucking lie about you, you know, some bullshit. Yeah, I'm switching sides. Next stream, I'm gonna have the pants in the kippa. Hello, all of a sudden, I don't have a problem with shilling. Don't forget to send in the super chats. Don't forget to send in the super chats. It supports the stream. That's gonna be me next stream, yeah. I'll have a bunch of... This stream is brought to you by stake.com. For all your gambling needs, go to stake.com. We've got roulette, we've got blackjack, everything. Sports betting. Hey, you guys like sports, right? You like betting. Stake.com. Use code MELLOWSHEKELS for an extra 100% up, an additional 100% in your initial investment. Over $1,000. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little tired. I'm actually quite tired today. I'm a little like not on point. We're getting through it. Damn, it's already 9 o'clock. Shit. How long have I been live for? Check the OBS. An hour? Okay. I guess I really started late. I want to go live earlier tomorrow. Let's see, it's Thursday. Tomorrow. Maybe like 6:30. 6:30 to 7. Try getting a normal stream schedule. Anyway. Gambling is crazy. What do you mean? What do you mean? It's a perfectly normal, acceptable pastime. If you lose money, that's your fault. Michael Knowles defending Nick wasn't on your bingo card. Jack Masobic, too. That's weird, dude. Frankly, this whole debacle is splitting the right wing. It is. It's like, who are you going to side with? Just think about this for a second. Who are you going to side with? For your own, if you're a self-interested influencer, for your own credibility, for your own paycheck, who are you going to side with? Candace Owens, this retard, like this schizophrenic retard, like Tucker Carlson, a known Fed, Elon Musk, who's replacing everybody with Indians, okay? Trump, who's getting nothing done and has totally betrayed America. Are you gonna support Nick? But it's like the evidence that's presented on like so many of these like different issues is just laughable. It's dubious. It's laughable. It's like these people dogpiling on Nick with the latest expose, this botting expose, for example. Like, dude, you're literally siding with George Soros. You understand? It's like, so it's kind of funny how for these people's own credibility, they have to pick a side. It's really unavoidable now. Nick has become so popular. There's so much pressure from Nick and his camp, from America First, but also pressure still from the establishment to either support or disavow Nick. It's an unavoidable issue. Everybody's talking about it. It's the most pressing subject in the certainly the right wing. And so these people are literally, they have the choices now thrust upon them. And so it is funny that Michael Knowles and like Jack Posobiec are now. But, you know, here's the thing. I never forget who these people are. It's the same thing with like Matt Walsh. It's like, are we just going to forget? Like, if they flip sides tomorrow, for example, are we simply to forget that these people batted for the other team? Ran cover and added credibility to the people that are raping our country to death for years. These same people that gatekept Nick, and many people like Nick and his ideas, out of the mainstream discussion for the better part of a decade. Are we simply to forget that? Now that everybody is like racist, not everybody's like racist and anti-Semitic or whatever. Now that like nobody gives a shit about the Holocaust anymore, now you're gonna after like these people clutch their pearls and gatekept Nick for being a radical out. Now we're supposed to embrace him with open arms. I don't know about that one, Chief. Well, if I lose more than $40 at the casino, I get mad at myself for being a chump. That's a quitter's mentality. You were one roll away from winning at Big King. You gave up though. You gave up. So you lost money. If you kept going, you would have won more money. You just had to keep going. That's where you fucked up. You should have kept gambling. They are so scared of Nick's grassroots movement getting bigger. That's why they're trying to discredit him. Now they tried to bait him into this fake narrative. And it's failing catastrophe. I still connect to the internet? We back? We back? Did we F for a second? I don't know what happened there. We good? But like people like Ian Carroll, Candace Owens, Tucker, like it's not now Tucker came out in defense of Candace, saying like, I don't trust the FBI. I support Candace getting to the bottom of this. That's what he said today. And so all these people, in an effort to try and like bait people into this narrative, they're staking their own credibility on it, and they'll be left holding the bag. So if the idea was to burn the right wing, if the idea was to burn the credibility in the right wing, primarily Nick's credibility, it's failing spectacularly because the only one with credibility left is Nick. Seriously. All they've really done is expose themselves time and time again. They keep like, they're trying so fucking hard. They've shifted their strategy, and it's a sophisticated strategy. You see a lot of people falling for it. But that doesn't really matter as long as our guy doesn't, you know, as long as Nick stays on top of it, then it doesn't really, like, they'll continue to lose. So, okay, yeah, we back, cool. Asmund Gold says, no, they will stab Nick in the back the moment the wind changes. What says no to what? What did Asmund Gold say? You got, guys, you have to remember I yap for like 5 to 10 minutes and then I read your comments. So I lose context. I don't remember I don't know what that was responding to. But yeah, no, they will stab Nick in the back. That's why it's like, you know, you can't trust these people. Remember who they are. You know, only really pay them attention until they're no longer useful, and then cast them aside like the trash they are. Is that harsh? Is that hard? Is that too harsh? But it's true. It's true, man. Like, people like Matt Walsh could be an asset. He could be useful. But, you know, time and time again, he's just shown that he's not, he's severely lacking in judgment and in character. And I think a W, you know, and we can't forget, but I think we've been pleasantly surprised by Crowder. I think he showed some character there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But Mud Club Groiper. The last 3 times I walked out with casinos money, it was like $20 to $60, but that's better than being in the hole. Yeah, it was sad to see that scumbag trying to imply that waiting for marriage is bad or loser behavior. Yeah, and that's when you realize when somebody like Piers Morgan says he's Catholic, it's like all he's trying to do is make an appeal to Catholics, really, to Christians. Which it's not going to fucking work, because if you know anything about Christian, not even like specifically Catholic, but just Christian morality in general, you would know that sex before marriage is bad. And not only is it frowned upon, but it's immoral. So it's like, you can't say, well, I'm Catholic. Yeah, dude, there are a lot of Catholics out there that are not really Catholic. I hate to break it to you, man, but most Catholics are not going to make it. That's just true. That's always been true. Most people are not, you know, this idea like this once saved, always saved shit is just not true. You know, never take salvation for granted. Anyway. Like, really, it's only through God's intervention or do you not go to hell. If you do nothing, you will end up there. So that is like the default. The clones are Plan B, John Doyle, Nayland Haley, and Bridlin Hollyhan. Dude, all of those are so fucking lame, man. None of them are. John Doyle, dude. Again, like, it's just... They will try. They will continue to try. They will never find their test tube Nick Fuentes. It's not going to happen, dude. Somebody like Nick is... I know it's like glaze hour, but it's like he was like molded by authenticity. That's why people like him. It's because he's real. He's not, you know, he says what's on his mind for the most part. You know, yeah, he's optics and all that. You know, but genuine. He's being genuine when he talks. You know, look, when I say like you say what's on your mind, I think some people think that just means that you have to be like edgy all the time, not politically correct. And so you see a lot of these grifters trying to grift off this movement, and it's like they think that the appeal for Nick is that he drops N bombs. It's like that's really like that's not really the crux of it. And so it's like, in a sense, it's very amusing how, I know we've talked about this before, how all these people are racking their brains. Why is Nick so successful? Outside of being like funny and smart, it's like, dude, because he tells the truth. That's why. Because he's right about where everyone else is wrong, he's consistently right. So I think that's the appeal. But they'll never concede that point. It's like they don't even understand. It's not even on their radar. Like the people are like, the concept of pursuing the truth is, I know maybe this sounds like really gay, but the concept of pursuing the truth is like so foreign to these people. It's not even on their radar. They don't even consider it a possibility. Why someone would be appealing. If you support the 19th, then you don't understand what it will take to make America first. Yeah, leftoid Harry Sisson crashed and burned. Degens don't like it when their golden boy is a degen. Yeah, it's sort of like, it is kind of funny, right? Because like in like the left-wing politics, it's like promiscuity is encouraged for women but not for men, because that's like being like a promiscuous like a man that like runs through women is like kind of Chad, right? That's seen as like a Chad thing, which the left is very much against, because they don't like that concept of like, it's all very female coded nowadays. With this idea that a man would like default to this hypergamous lifestyle. Although like they always argue in favor of just like this sexual liberty and all that, it's like in practice they're really not fans of promiscuous men, because that's inherently like anti-feminist. You know, this idea that a man would run through women like they're they're objects. You know, like that's kind of inherently anti-feminist, and so you see the contradiction there. You see how they preach for like guilt-free sex and everything, but as soon as a guy does it, oh, that's an ick. Because it's all run by women. It's all female coded. Women and weak men. Anyway. I was yapping for a while there. What are we doing now? What are we doing? Chat, what's the plan here? Rules for thee, for that, yeah. And that's the kind of world we live in, man. If you don't support hypergamous women, you're like sexist. You're like super sexist.
From Mexico.
Not really true, because when my father's ancestors came here, it was a small fraction of the total immigrants that came from Mexico. I don't believe that we should have zero immigrants forever, or even zero immigrants from non-white countries. But you have to draw the distinction. My father's father, he was here in the 40s and 50s. It was his parents, or I believe either his parents or grandparents, that came here even earlier. Up until 1965, 90% of the immigrants were coming from Europe. I have no problem with that. If we have 10% of them coming from Mexico or Latin America, maybe that's reasonable, but that's not what it is now. Now you've got 10 million illegals in 4 years under Joe Biden, and you got millions more legal immigrants from China, India, Venezuela, El Salvador, and it's so many with no break for assimilation, and they're all from non-white countries. It's transforming what America is. And again, that's the distinction. That's what makes it unacceptable.
I always believe everybody's a product of their environment. Right? I've interviewed thousands of people. I mean, maybe 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people from all different walks of life. But the one common theme I would say is everyone's a product of their environment. And I was reading some stuff about you in the last few days. There was an episode of your podcast where you talked about your father, Bill Fuentes, and how he wouldn't take the family, including you, to certain restaurants because he believed they were.
See, why is he doing that? Why did he just name drop his dad like that? This was really like and look, you could look this up. It's not private information, but Piers knows what he's doing. He knows he has an audience out there. He knows a lot of people are going to watch this. Why? You are doxing Nick's dad, and that's a really scummy thing to do. That is. Talk to Nick. Talk about Nick. Don't bring his family into it like that, because you know he's a controversial figure. If he did any amount of research, he knows the kind of scrutiny and the censorship, the cancellation that Nick has had to endure. People have made attempts at his life. That's a very irresponsible thing to do. And even if I were to give him the benefit of the doubt and say maybe he slipped up, you really can't afford to do that when you have a platform like that. You just have to be a little more responsible than that, considering the context. But that's really what precipitated this response with attacking Piers for being a total fucking cuck. Because it's like, hey man, okay, you took it there. You're gonna involve family. Okay, we'll involve family. And so now people are going after Piers and his wife. So. He's looking for an Achilles heel. Yeah, he's trying to get a rise out of Nick. That's like who Piers Morgan is. He's trying to get some kind of emotional response from Nick. Is it true that Nick is a gay? No, he's not gay.
Americans. We would be deciding where to go to eat, you said. What are we going to do for dinner tonight? It was a running joke. Me and my sister would say Applebee's, and my dad would say we would never eat at Applebee's. Not in a million years should you be caught dead, Fuentes said about Applebee's. Go to a different restaurant, a local restaurant. No Applebee's, no Red Lobster. That is commonly known as black fare. And you also shared another story about your family and restaurants. Said before me and my sister were born, my family had a saying about Olive Garden that contains the N-word that we're not allowed to say. So my question, based on that anecdote that you say on your own podcast, is do you think you grew up in a racist environment, that your father was inherently racist, and that thought process moved to you?
Well, I would say it's a new low. I've been attacked for being a racist many times, but to attack my father, to attack my parents based on anecdotes, I would say that's sort of a new low.
Hang on, it's your anecdote.
Yeah, but he's not here to defend himself.
You are.
And my parents are.
You told the story.
And I will. And I'll
I'm not trying to ambush you. As I said at the start, Nick, to be clear.
No, it's not an ambush.
Nick, to be clear, I'm not ambushing you. I'm literally reading an anecdote that you revealed on your podcast.
Yeah, Nick totally picked up on that immediately.
I know. I'm simply asking you whether my assessment of that, which is that your father didn't want to take you to certain restaurants because of what you refer to as they were commonly known as black fare, whether that attitude to African Americans in that instance permeated to you. It's a reasonable question.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think everybody knows what that is, but I'll address it. I'll engage with it, and I'll defend my father from the charge of racism.
Sure.
No, my parents are not racist, and they've never been racist. I'll tell you about my parents. They used to have a school in Chicago in the South Loop where they instructed people on how to shoot firearms. It was a security school, and most of the clients were black. And I believe actually one of their clients was Larry Hoover's son at one point, sort of a funny story. And so most of their clients would come in from the South Side of Chicago. My grandmother, she grew up in the projects in the city. And so my family being in Chicago, being ethnics, being Italian, Irish, Mexican, in the West Side on Taylor Street, all over the city. My family for many generations have lived near and around black people. And look, my views about black people and their views about black people are shaped with experiences with black people. And what they will tell you, what my parents would say if they were here, is that for many, many years, the older generations of black people were very respectful, very humble, very decent. In fact, my grandma used to have an anecdote. She grew up in a lot of dysfunction. Her mother was mentally ill, and they would be having dinner in the projects, and there'd be so much chaos and dysfunction and disagreement and fighting. And she would look across the way out the window at a black family in the other apartment, and they'd be holding hands around the table saying grace. And this is sort of the culture that used to prevail. But now what you have in the city is that there's no accountability for the black people. And now Chicago has become a complete dump because these teenagers go out and they take over the city. They call them teen takeovers. That's the euphemism for it. They're teenagers, but they all come from the same neighborhood. They drive up there and they mug people and attack people and they destroy cars and destroy shops. We had the Festival of Lights a couple of weeks ago. It's supposed to be a family event. And they light up the trees and there's a big parade. I was in the parade one year and you had a bunch of black people there shooting each other. 7 people shot, a 14-year-old killed in the Magnificent Mile. And I know there's a lot of black people that feel the same way about this. They say, we've lost control of the city and we're looking for accountability. We have a lot of black people that are always outraged about racism, outraged about attitudes from white people, but they're never ashamed of some of these behaviors, never ashamed of some of the things that go on. And that's why I think there's a lot of negative attitudes these days. And so You know, again, I think those attitudes, you say I'm a product of my environment. I am. And so are my parents and my grandparents. Unlike you, because you're not even American, in Chicago, we have to live in a big, diverse city where there's a lot of different kinds of people. And I
live in
think
a big
anybody in
diverse
Chicago
city.
would tell you the same.
I live in London. It's one of the biggest and most diverse cities in the world.
But it's not the same.
Well, actually, it's a big
He's
diverse
also
city.
rich. Okay. He's also rich. I don't know exactly where he lives, but I'm willing to bet that he probably lives in a very affluent neighborhood where he's insulated with a lot of the problems that come from the diversity. I mean, let's be real here for a second. It's always these like very affluent people that they can move into a high rise or price out the riffraff in a expensive neighborhood that don't have to deal with the worst parts of diversity. So him saying, "Oh, I live in London. It's a different." Okay, yeah. Well, there's the Gold Coast in Chicago. Okay. Or look at Trump Tower. You think there's a lot of diversity in Trump Tower or the more affluent parts of downtown? Come on, dude. I would have said something along the lines of, "It was my father's duty to keep us away from danger or dangerous situations." I don't even think you have to take it there. I don't think you have to like insinuate that to defeat Piers. But a little more like New Packy, am I right? Yeah, dude, it's London's pretty cooked, man. It's like 35% white now. That's just sad, man. London being 35% British. But you know what, man? That's for them to figure out. That is for the British to figure out. Ultimately, it'll probably have to be America that will fix things for Europe. Through pressure from our foreign policy. I kind of think most of Europe is pretty cooked if they were left to their own devices. 5% white neighborhood. Someone looked it up. Oh, did they? Wow, I'm so surprised. I'm shocked at that. I'm surprised that Piers Morgan himself doesn't live among the Pakistani immigrants. And I'm surprised. I'm utterly shocked. That sounds so uncharacteristic of Piers. He's in Kensington, London, which is extremely white. Well, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's just one of the nice things about this interview is, I would say the best part about this interview was just how big of a hit Piers Morgan's credibility is taking right now. Like, this is like the death row of this old liberal boomerism right here. Piers getting humiliated, getting destroyed, dismantled, being outed as a cuck. And look, if you've been around, you've known Piers Morgan is a scumbag. You've known for a long time. You've known about his tactics and whatnot. But him getting humiliated like this is just sweet, sweet, sweet vindication. A mansion in Beverly Hills, Los Angeles, of course. So when he's talking about diversity, he's not living the way Nick's parents and grandparents lived, and how 95% of people living in these cities are living. 99, really. It's like, again, when you have money, you can insulate yourself from these issues. If you have money, you can move. You can go into the high rise with 24/7 security. You can move to a all white or all Jewish neighborhood where you don't have to worry about the youths. You can move to a difference on a whim. You can own multiple homes. You have mobility that people who are average don't have. Working class, they don't have that kind of mobility. Literal mobility. So, once again, it's like, and again, this was something that was alluded to, like, I think when Nick was talking about Megyn Kelly, but it's like people like Piers Morgan, and they have contempt for like the everyday person, the poors, the common man. And there's this reluctance to really empathize with the struggle of the everyday people, because it's like diversity. That sounds like a poor problem. My version of diversity is going to the kebab stand and eating a delicious kebab on my Thursday afternoon. It's like they can at their own discretion remove themselves from the diverse environment. You and I, us, we, the plebeians cannot. And so when we get up there, when Nick, our champion, goes up there and he expresses the discontent from the masses, people like Piers, their response is like disgust and like this feigned ignorance. Like, why are you even bringing this up, you pleb? Now enjoy your goyslop. So there is a class warfare element to this too. Not to sound like a total libtard or not libtard, like leftoid tanky, but like that is a big part of the problem. Or the elites in our country don't give a shit about the everyday people. There's this we're an occupied government, occupied country. Like, what does that look like? It means the elite, the oligarchs, the politicians, the people with power in power are not looking out for our interests. So Piers Morgan, who is effectively, one of the public-facing propagandists of the Matrix, he represents that. So, of course, he's going to feign ignorance. He's going to pretend like these aren't problems because he's trying to convince you that they're not problems. Like that's what he's installed to do. So, oh, you know what? What time is the collab tomorrow? I think out of all my regular collabs, I think Nick's collabs with Richard Spencer are my favorite. They really are excellent because you finally have like two very intelligent people sitting down and talking and like sharing ideas and fleshing them out. It's always a good discussion. With stuff like this, much of it is tedious because, and look, they're good interviews and whatnot, but how many of these interviews is Nick just kind of communicating, dumbing down these ideas to like total ignoramuses that don't know anything, or hold on to these preconceived ideas. You said you like Stalin? What did you mean by that? What did you mean by that? You like Stalin? That's problematic. Stalin was a communist. Did you know that? Stalin was a bad guy. Did you know that? It's just like, I'm not gonna lie, man. Some of these like collabs are a little rough to get through. But anyway, I hope they talk about Lithuania. What about Lithuania? We're talking about America here. We're talking about places that matter. Is Piers a boomer or Xer? He's Xer. Yeah, barely makes sense. Gen X. Piers lives in an area that's 97.5% white English. He doesn't live in some North London immigrant slum. Yeah. 1965 to 1980, and Piers was born 1965. He's Richard Spencer's peer. Anyway.
We don't have the gun violence because we don't have guns. That's a whole different story.
Yeah, knife violence.
I have got into that before.
You got a knife problem. You got sword problems.
We have problems with
Aladdin.
Yeah,
we have problems with violent crime. I make no pretense of it. So the idea that somehow I'm cosseted in London because I'm not in Chicago.
I didn't say that.
Well, you kind of implied it, but I guess my point about the environment, I'm not saying you are a product of your environment. I'm saying most people are in some capacity. Mm-hmm. When I read that anecdote, it's just to remind you, it's not something I have put out there. You told this story, right? And you said that
you said this. We're looping. You said this.
You haven't really directly, I think, responded to it, which is whether your father would not take you to certain restaurant chains because he associated them with black Americans. Is that true?
No, well, see here, if you're in America, you would say that Olive Garden is not real Italian food. Applebee's, TGI Fridays and stuff is a load of crap. My dad was just a food snob, but no, it's got nothing to do with that. My best friend in first grade was a black guy.
I remember watching that segment live on Nick's show when he was talking about Applebee's, when he told that story. And that was like the gist of it, was that it wasn't real Italian food. Like the racial spin on it really wasn't very prevalent in that segment. Like, because this is what Piers is trying to do. Piers is trying to state, he's trying to say that Nick is such a racist that he won't even frequent certain establishments that are frequented by certain minorities. That's what Piers is trying to say. But like that's not in the evidence he presented. It's not even, that wasn't even the thrust of the joke. That wasn't even the thrust of the this whole segment. It was that food is trash. It's not like, what is Olive Garden compared to real Italian food? Come on now.
A racist family. So
okay, so when you told the story, I'm just curious. So when you told that anecdote, which clearly on the face of it is racist, right? You're basically saying your father made racist decisions about where you would go as a family to eat. Are you saying? No. Well, I'm just going to ask you a question. Are you saying that when you told that story, you didn't mean to infer that he was racist? And do you understand why when somebody like me reads that anecdote for the first time, as I did this week, I reach a different conclusion?
Well, I understand what you're doing, which is a sort of making of a murderer. How did he become racist? Well, his father didn't eat an Olive Garden because he said that's not real Italian food. Hang on, can I? What's with the interruptions? Can I explain?
I'm literally reminding you of something you said on your show, which led me to conclude a certain thing. If I'm wrong, tell me.
Yeah, it was said in jest as a humorous anecdote, and now you're trying to spin it into a narrative, which is his parents are racist. He comes from a long line of racists, and I think everybody knows my parents are boomers, and these people come. Well, you're a boomer, I guess, too. In a way,
60.
right? You were born
in
what, 19? Yeah, so you're a boomer also. Or maybe you're a Gen Xer, I suppose.
Yeah, same shit. I'm not giving a fuck. But like, dude, who cares? Like, when a boomer or a Gen Xer tries to like make that distinction, it's like, dude, you're old. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Oh, or actually, I'm 65. Technically, I'm Gen X. You're all boomers. You're all boomers to me. Okay, you're older than Ugg.
But it's a humorous anecdote. These are kind of
Olive Garden is fantastic. Is that bait, M-Goat? Is that bait? Surely not.
Boomers in society, but you're trying to spin it into a narrative, which is you're a product of your environment. Your dad's racist because of this joke. Now you're a racist, and I don't think that's a fair characterization.
Okay, people can make their own minds up. They can go back and listen to you say it. I mean, the beauty of what I'm going to talk to you about in this interview is that almost all of it is just going to be reminding you what you have said and asking you what you meant. Your position about that story is that it was a joke, okay? I want to come to something else you said. This is where you talk about Jews, women, and blacks. Let's just take a listen.
They're always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise. It's that simple.
Okay. Would you like to clarify what you meant there?
That's all true. That's 100% true. Everything I said in that clip is true.
Including that blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part?
Yeah. Yes.
But all of them?
No, for the most part.
What does the most part mean? What percentage of American blacks would you like to see in prison?
Whatever the
it's something like 4 to 5%, 4 to 6% of black men in America will commit a murder at some point. That's pretty fucking crazy. Okay. Give me the goy refills all day. All day, any day. They got free breadsticks. That's such a good deal. Olive Garden is basically Italian Denny's. Dude. Yikes. Favorite moment, it's all true. Yeah, go to clip, man. Go to clip. One of the greats. What are the greatest clips?
Murderers. I think it's 1 in 20 black men will commit a murder in their lifetime. So maybe let's say that 5%.
There's a
so
statistic.
You're talking about black people who murder people.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But you didn't say that.
That's
you just said
problem.
Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. You didn't clarify that you were talking about black murderers.
Right. No, you're right. That's a good addition to that. That's a great point.
You think it's funny or?
I do. I think it's hilarious. I think it's totally true.
Do you think a black American would find it funny? You think that blacks should be imprisoned for the most part?
Blacks are my biggest fans. I get high fives all the time. They say, Nick Fuentes, I love your show. They agree with me. And you want to know why? Here's the difference.
Dude, that's like the best way to handle that. Piers Morgan thinks he's got his gotcha. Why didn't you clarify exactly what you meant? Because it's a joke. because it wouldn't really hit if you didn't use hyperbole. It wouldn't really hit if you said, and like the 4 to 6% of blacks that commit murder should be in prison for the most part. Like that doesn't really flow. It kind of ruins the jokes. The joke. You know, there's a great tweet that summed this up. I think it was from Millennial Woes. It said so much of like liberal rhetoric. I'm paraphrasing, but so much of like liberal rhetoric is just them pretending not know how shit works, thus making discourse impossible. That's one of these moments right here where Piers Morgan is going to pretend like he doesn't know how jokes work. He's going to pretend like he doesn't know how humor works. What did you actually mean? Okay, all right. And so I think Nick's response was really good there. The sarcasm, the dismissiveness is perfect because you just can't take that shit seriously. You can't give that the time of day. You can't get bogged down with these people that are not going to engage in good faith. So that's a huge. He just completely outmaneuvered Piers Morgan right there. He just totally fucking shit all over. Piers Morgan thought that he was going to pull out his old reliable strategy. Let's take a joke, something that was said in jest, press him on the matter in a serious way in a completely different context to try and get his opponent to backtrack, to backpedal, to clarify, to make concessions. And so rather than even entertaining that for a second, it's better to just, oh yeah, no, that's a good addition. Yeah, that's a great addition, Piers. Just mock and belittle his commentary because it's utterly worthless. And it is. It's utterly useless. It's like, it's totally bad faith. It's ridiculous. So you just have to laugh in these people's faces because they're ridiculous people.
Victimized by other black people. You think black people want to live in the hood and the ghetto and get shot all the time? That's what happens in the south side of Chicago. You should come here. I'll take you there. We could go to Garfield Park.
My son went to Chicago
Inglewood.
University for a year, actually, several years ago.
Yeah, that's a bubble. That's a bubble. You think you're in Chicago and Hyde Park? You don't know Chicago. Go a little bit west. See what it's like over there. And I'll tell you, black people agree with me because they're tired of it too. And maybe not most of them, but a lot of them agree with what I say about that because they know how it is.
Bro.
That's why the first thing they...
It's like you have like University of Chicago right there, right? You go just a few blocks over and you get like people drifting in that aren't from the neighborhood all the time. You just go a few blocks west, not even very far, and you start seeing some shit, man. And it comes into it like drifts in and out. It's like it's at the point where it's like you could be downtown and see some shit. You know, you could be downtown and see ghetto shit all the time. So backhanded him in real time with that comment, yeah. And now it's even making its way to the north side. Even if you're up in like Old Town, you know, you'll start to see the riffraff coming in. There's really like nowhere. Even just in the last 10 years, man, the city has just gotten so much worse. And this is not just Chicago. It's happening in New York. It's happening in all these major cities. Like the country, it's just falling apart, man. And it's not even just happening in America. Look at London. Look at the knife violence. You think it's just a bunch of Englishmen going out there, oi, I'm a jab you on the gabber with this knife. No, it's these Pakistanis, it's these Iraqis, it's these foreigners coming in, these North Africans or Central Africans that make their way to London, and they're committing all kinds of violence. So that was the moment Piers' face transformed into Pigeon Lady from Home Alone. He does look like her, doesn't he? Oh, why the downtown's gone to crap? Too many youths.
Money is they go and leave to another neighborhood.
Okay, so what was just remind me again, the percentage of black men who commit murder in America. What was the percentage you gave me?
It's 1 in 20. 1 in 20.
It's 1 in 100.
Not according to the FBI crime statistics.
No, it's 1 in 20.
No. Less than 1 in 100 black US men commit murder. That's the most up-to-date crime statistics in America.
That's not true. I've seen other statistics. They say 1 in 20 will eventually commit a murder.
So your rate means that you're saying that 5 times as many black men commit murder as the official crime statistics say.
Yeah, there's a report, I believe, on X by Data Hazard. I'll have to go and double check that for you. But yes, there's some pretty shocking evidence that says that it's far more alarming than you would think.
Okay, but you would accept that the official crime statistics are 1 in 100, or you wouldn't accept that statistic?
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but I've seen other evidence. Like I said, Data Hazard on X, I believe, produced a report about a year ago. It said 1 in 20. But I mean, whether it's 1 in 20 or 1 in 100, that's a lot of people, Piers. I mean,
Sure,
this is
a lot of
real
white
problem.
people commit murder too. Well, they do, don't
Okay, but it's about proportionality. I mean, white people are 65% of the population. Blacks are 13%. And I think anybody would tell you that more black people proportionally commit violent crime than white people, and people vote with their feet. People would rather pay a much higher property tax.
Most mass
what's with the
shootings-
interruptions?
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, you look at in Chicago, in New York, these neighborhoods are so stratified. People would rather pay a high tax rate. They'd rather pay a much higher property value to live in a less diverse, less black neighborhood because they don't want to live around the violence. And I think that when you look at even on the public transit, the subway, the blue line, you know, people don't want to go there because they know who occupies and menaces the public transit. It is these people like Daniel Penny had to deal with. It's people like Irina Zarutska had to deal with. And that's just the uncomfortable reality.
You've also said you don't want to live near black people.
The interview was legendary. Nick cooked him for the world to see. Yeah, that's it. Truly, from what I've seen, and this is the first time I've gone through it. I've seen clips, I've seen the reaction, but it seems like it's truly one of the goated interviews. For real. Nick was generous. It's not 5 times greater, it's 6 times. It's maybe better to just give a range. I say 4 to 6. We don't need to be too granular with it. That's not, and that's what Piers is trying to do. He's trying to like actually him. Well, it's my statistic is 5 times less than your statistic. It's like, okay, but that's still a lot. 1 in 100. If you were to walk in one of these neighborhoods in Chicago or any of these, you know, American cities, you know, major American cities, if you pass by like 1,000 people, like 1,000 black people, which is totally possible, right? Just walking around. 1,000. The idea that you would pass by 10 murderers, isn't that not like fucking mind-boggling to you? Is that not just like a crazy, like how do you have a functional society? How could you live among so many violent people? And that's really the problem. That's like kind of the whole point. So at a certain point, whether it's 1 out of 100 or 6 out of 100, that's still quite significant. But the point is, Piers is wrong anyway, so it's kind of moot. He's wrong. It's higher. And the idea that, like, again, Piers, like, are we really going to pretend like there isn't a problem with violent crime in black neighborhoods? Are we really going to pretend like that's not true? Who's committing the crime, Piers? Like, this is just ridiculous. You can't even concede that point that there is a problem with black crime. It's not even like we're debating why there's crime, like whether it's a nature versus nurture kind of thing or economics, whatever. It's like, it's this reluctance to even admit that there is a greater level of crime in black neighborhoods whatsoever. And so it is like, maybe this was, he sort of pigeonholed himself into this position in an attempt to attack Nick. And I think it's clearly backfiring. It's like, okay, so what? Oh, we can't pretend like there's no problem at all. Nope. There's no difference between white and black neighborhoods. It's like, dude, everyone fucking knows that's not true. So, yeah, nitpicking. He's trying to win on these little points. These actually gotchas. Actually, it's 1%. Not shut the fuck up, dude. You're wrong. First of all, you're wrong. But second of all, that's really kind of beside the point. Because even if it were 1%, it doesn't really change the thrust of Nick's argument. So, Bella, do you think flocking to red states is a solution? For whom exactly? No, it's not. Like, in general, no. Absolutely not. Denethor said to flee. Yeah, no, don't. You, first of all, if that's like a solution for you, no, because you can't run from this. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And like, if you attempt some kind of like return to the land kind of thing, then the government will just show up with the 101st Airborne and point guns at you, tell you to allow black people into your neighborhood. But that's not a solution either. No, you can't run from it. You can't just like in a certain sense, like, yeah, try to live in a place where you're not going to get mugged on your way to work, where you're not going to get stabbed in the neck, just going about your business. Like, yes, but there's only so much you can really do. You know, you're not going to outrun the problem in its entirety. You're just going to sort of prolong your own safety for the time being. So unless you're like made of money, it's like, and you can afford to like buy like a mansion in a gated community, the problem will always be one you're gonna have to deal with. So you can't run. And it's funny because a lot of like liberals have moved to red states and they're turning them purple. That's why it's like, you know, people like Piers, it's like they will instinctively sort of, whether they realize it or not, they'll operate off of the same like operating system a racist would. You know, maybe inadvertently, Piers moves into a nice neighborhood, doesn't want to live in a crime-ridden one, and so just in the by nature of doing that, he's avoiding the diversity. And he'll continue to do that, and he will. Like, there's no self-reflection. They don't really understand necessarily why they do some of the things that they do. You know, why they would want to move to like a suburb and not live in the inner city where it's dangerous. And for somebody like Piers, and there's a lot of liberals like this, there's this lack of self-awareness, self-reflection, and they are ideologues ultimately. Whereas somebody that's more of a realist, somebody that's more rational, somebody like Nick would identify like, yeah, okay, there's a common trend here. There's a reason why people are moving to red states. And it's like they'll say stuff like lower taxes or whatever. But it's like, okay, yeah, but why are there lower taxes? Because of policy. Okay, well, where's that policy coming from? It's coming from, you know, the people voting, the voting records and the politicians. So these liberals moving to these red states, they don't really understand that. So there's never this like, very rarely is this sort of like revelation where they really adjust their worldview. Have you seen those mugshots where they list the perp's ethnicity as white, but clearly they're not? The data is skewed. Absolutely. And there's tons of those. Who knows how many of those there really are? Hopefully somebody can get like an AI algorithm to crunch all these numbers or something. But yeah, dude, they're labeling like Hispanics as white. They're labeling Middle Easterners as white. People that are straight up brown, like brown skin, black hair, brown eyes, like clearly not European. So they are skewing the numbers. That's 100% true. Not leaving paradise. The Sasquatch will leave before I do. I've been to Florida and Texas. It's Africa hot there. Yeah, dude, Texas gets so fucking hot in the summer, man. You don't want to be in Texas in the summer. The winter, it's the fall, winter, and like spring, it's fine. Yeah, most of spring. But it's like, dude, yeah, the summer is fucking ass. And Florida is just like, yeah. Similar story, but like more humid and gators and people on bath salts running around. Well, imagine living 90 plus degrees every day for 4 months. That's the deep south. Yeah. Yep. It's yeah, no. Fuck that, dude. Fuck that. Anyway. Yeah, NorCal is like perfect, dude. NorCal, maybe the best weather in the country. It's just, I don't think you can beat that. Seriously. Texas and Florida have flying cockroaches. That's a big nope. Yeah. Look, both of those states have their fair share of problems. Bro, it's 120 for an entire month here. Dude. Yeah, no. Absolutely not. But, you know, what, no property tax, right? Living out in the West in the desert is crazy as well. Arizona summers are no joke. It feels oppressive. Yeah. My northern brain cannot comprehend.
Listen to this clip.
I'm a new generation of white person. I'm not living around blacks. Sorry. You know, I want white kids, and I don't want my white kids bringing home black people to marry. It's racial for me. And call me racist. Oh, very Christian of you. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, it couldn't be clearer, really, unless you want to say that's another of your jokes. But you're basically saying, yeah, I'm a racist, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
You're fine with saying you're a racist?
Totally. I think everybody's racist. I think everybody, if we're being honest, is racist. I think everybody, the only people that aren't racist or pretend not to be are white people to their detriment. Everybody else is racist.
But earlier in the interview, you really got aggrieved at the idea that your father was a racist. You wanted to make emphatically sure
my father's...
He's not.
Because my father doesn't share my same views on that.
So he's the exception to the everyone's a racist.
Well, everybody's a little bit racist. You're right. So maybe everybody... The difference is you're attacking my father. You know, he can get fired from his job.
I'm not attacking your father.
You are.
No, I'm not. I don't know your father. And to be clear, I have no knowledge about him at all. Well,
then let's leave him out of it. Let's leave him out of it if you don't know him.
Hang on, Nick. You put that story into the public domain on your show. I'm simply reminding you of what you told everybody.
Piers is such a scumbag, man. This is such a scumbag thing to do. Such a fucking scumbag thing to do. Northern California weather is better than East Coast or Midwest weather in the summer. No humidity out in NorCal. Yes, San Diego is the best weather. If you are living like Northeast, just like near the Bay, but not necessarily in the Bay, dude, it's like, or no, south of the Bay. Like, actually, now I think about it, it's probably even better. Like, if you're near like Carmel, perfect. It's perfect. Down to every last detail. Yeah. California supremacy is real, man.
People about your father. If you now want to retract it, fine. If you want to say it was a joke, which is what your position was earlier, fine. But I'm allowed to put to you things you've said publicly. That's not unfair. That's not me targeting your father. You put that story about him out there.
You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing.
I'm asking you about a pretty shocking anecdote, which to me looked like you were saying your father made decisions about where you as a family would eat based on skin color of people who worked at these places. If you say, or use them, if you say that is not what you meant, that's fine. You can respond any way you like. But the idea I can't ask you about it without you saying I'm attacking your father is ridiculous.
Well, you are, and you know what you're doing. And there's a political culture in America where if you have the wrong views, you get fired from your job. And my father has a job. And if you go on here and say, you charge him with racism or something, and I'm put in a position where I don't look like I'm sticking to my guns if I don't say my father's a racist, you're putting him in jeopardy, and he's not here to defend himself or explain his views. And it's very low, and I think you know exactly what you're doing, and people can see what you're doing. I'll defend my views, and I think that, you know, so let's leave him out of it. Let's just not talk about my father, because my father isn't here. I'm here.
Okay, well,
I'll
then do you
defend
accept
my
that you
views,
shouldn't
and I'll
talk?
defend
Okay,
the anecdote.
listen, that's fine. But then do you
Dude,
accept you shouldn't talk about your father on the show? And you shouldn't tell...
Absolutely not.
Fuck
Absolutely
you.
not.
So it's fine for you to put a story out there which would make most people who listened to that story or watched it at the time on your show conclude that he
really
was racist.
You're gonna lay the blame
It's
on
fine
Nick here? That is just so terrible, man.
You to do that, but if I then ask you about it, I'm the one who's being unfair and I've crossed a line. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you're
That's
being
fine.
malicious.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Listen, people are watching this live. They can draw their own conclusions about whether what I just did.
And they will.
Yeah, and I'm sure afterwards, by the way, you'll say, he ambushed me with your own words.
Whoa.
With your own words.
That's a little presumptuous. I'm not going to say it's an ambush, but I think that's a low blow. And I think you know what you're doing, and that's fine. You're a tabloid journalist. I expected that. I don't think it's an ambush because I knew it would be like this. And people will see what you're doing, and I think they'll say it's low. But as far as you want to talk about racism,
I do.
Let's talk about racism.
Okay,
let's leave my dad out of it.
Look, you've admitted you're a racist, correct?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Own it.
Okay, that's fine. You're perfectly entitled in a free democratic society to stare down the barrel of his camera and tell me you're a racist. People can judge you accordingly. Many people who have assumed that you're a racist will now have heard it from your own lips. That's fine.
There you go.
That's the point. The point of this interview is to go over the things you've said, which have led people to reach conclusions about you, and to ascertain whether those conclusions are fair and reasonable or not. That's it. So I want to play you another clip. This is what you talk about why white people are justified in being racist. Let's take a listen to this.
First, white people are every single bit justified in being racist. Every single bit justified, to the extent that that means going out of your way to avoid black people when you see them.
You stand by
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So white people should go out of their way to avoid black people when they see them?
Absolutely. They would be wise.
Why?
Because it's a lose-lose proposition. If you're Irina Zarutska and you don't walk the other way, you get stabbed to death and you die. If you're somebody else and you walk on the subway and you stand near a black person or something, maybe it's fine. It's a lose-lose proposition. So no, I think that white people have been beaten into submission, that we're afraid to tell the truth about it. And the truth is that when you go into these major cities like New York or Chicago, I believe she was in North Carolina, there is a menace, which is young, black, adolescent men. They're extremely violent. And we have been told that we have to pretend like they are every other person. We have to be colorblind to that. And we're supposed to go and be in the midst of all this danger. And I think that at this point, it's gotten out of control. You look at the BLM movement, they said that the reason that black people, are violent, or the reason there's crime, is because of police brutality, or redlining, or all these other things. They said we need to get rid of the police. We need to defund them. And a lot of cities did. A lot of cities like Chicago, for example, the police changed the rules of engagement. They don't chase them. It's not a felony if you steal a certain amount of merchandise. They won't chase them on foot. And now the city's totally up for grabs. And now whether you're in the Gold Coast or whether you're on the Mag Mile or you're in the worst neighborhoods in the city, you might get shot, you might get mugged, someone might run up on you. And I tell my followers, it is better to be perceived as racist or racist and walk the other way and maybe keep your life than to say, I'm a good anti-racist. I don't mind that this person's making me uncomfortable. Maybe he's looking a little froggy. I'm going to sit down because I'm a good person and get stabbed, mugged, whatever. And by the way, this is a strategy. They call it the friendly stranger. There's a crew of them. They do this in Chicago. They stand outside bars, black people. They approach strangers. It's a robbery crew. And they pretend to be a friendly stranger, and then they mug them. And stupid white people say, oh, hi, yeah, nice to meet you. You know, they grin, they laugh, they put up with the nonsense, and then they get mugged, or worse. Sometimes they get executed. And so as a white person...
How do you feel about
here we go.
at school?
I think they're bad.
Who do you think...
Don't you love that? Here we go. That was totally predictable. You know, the difference between, like, you know, black people, because of metal detectors in black schools, they're not even able to bring their gun into the school. They just shoot people outside the school. That's kind of the difference. And the funny thing is, what is it? It's something like, I think you need a minimum of 4 casualties for something to be declared a mass shooting. Well, how many of these shootings in these black neighborhoods are just 2 or 3 people and not like 10? So, of course, predictably, he went there. Yeah, so black people, instead of shooting people in the school because they can't bring the gun into the school because of metal detectors and increased security, they shoot people outside of the school and in the neighborhood, around the homes, in the streets. So, NT though, nice try. Okay, I'll learn how to surf in the middle of winter in San Diego. Malibu is one of my favorite places. Eesh. Santa Cruz and Monterey / Carmel are nice, but the salt air will eat your ears and damage your house after a few years. That's true. That is true. But I mean, look, that's just coastal living, you know? Here's got a house in SoCal. Yeah, LA, right? Have you been to Laguna Seca, but the racetrack? No. I'm really big at the racing. Yes, for Hispanics, usually at the end of August. Or, what am I saying? I'm tired. And so the historics usually at the end of August. Hispanics. That sounds dope. I was up there for an ISMA race in May. Broke down on the way out. Sheesh. In California, you can shoplift 950 without getting prosecuted. Shopkeepers stand back and let it happen. That's not a bad deal. Not $950 for free. Sheesh. Mello, would you move to Nashville? Probably not. Tennessee? Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, not really my thing. But I don't really know a lot about Nashville. Maybe it's cool. Don't they have a good music scene? That could be interesting. But then, wait, I was gonna say Ben Shapiro's in Nashville, but he doesn't live it. Like, he's the only one that didn't move to Nashville out of the Daily Wire crew, right? He lives in Florida in his Jewish neighborhood.
It's the vast majority of the mass shootings.
I'm sure it's white people.
Right. So how do you feel about that?
I think that white people do more antisocial violence. I think black people participate in more gang violence. I think that's the difference.
What's the difference to the victims?
There's no difference to the victim, but it's a different kind of crime. And it's a different proportion also. Do you know what percentage of white people are school shooters?
I know that the vast majority of mass shootings in schools in America this century were perpetrated by young white men. And I'm just
what proportion of what proportion?
I'm curious. I'm curious whether your advice would be to people who have kids in these schools.
Is my mic working?
Should they avoid white people at school? Should people
what proportion, you fucking brick?
At school?
No.
Okay.
Do you know what per capita means? Do you know proportionality? There are more black people proportionally that engage in violent crime or are involved in gangs, especially in these major cities, than there are white people that are school shooters compared to the entire white population. And everybody understands that.
Two-thirds of mass shootings at school perpetrated by white people.
But what proportion?
Well, you know, about 2/3 of the population is white, so that kind of tracks. You know, no, I don't see a lot of irregularities there.
That's a question.
I've just told you. It's 60-65% of school shootings by white people.
You're telling me what proportion of school shootings are committed by white people. I'm saying what proportion of white people have committed school shootings. Are you playing dumb or are you just not that smart?
What difference does that make to the children lying dead on the ground?
See, now you want to jump on the victims. The difference is you're asking...
No way, bro. No fucking way. Dude. Oh, shit. Bruh. Oh, what difference does it make to the dead children laying on the ground? Seriously, man. Yeah, the emotional rhetoric. Answer the fucking question, Piers. Candy is in Nashville? Oh, then I have to move to Nashville. Mel, move to Miami and go get yourself a Cuban girl. I don't know if I want a Hispanic. Dude, I mean, I don't want that kind of drama, dude. I don't want that kind of drama. Can you imagine? Dude, everything would just... all that attitude. You're stupid. What do you mean by that? Yeah, I couldn't. What kind of question is this? He's taken by his... Okay. It's the porn question in the Tucker interview. Who's going to make Nick explain basic math? Dude, once again, it's like these people just pretend like they don't know how shit works. Like, does Piers really not know about proportionality per capita? If he doesn't, then really you can't take him seriously. And if he does, then answer the fucking question. It's also tiresome. Dude, that just fucking one-shot me, man. It looks like you have a green screen casting couch behind you. You know, I predicted that somebody was going to say some shit like that. It's a couch. It's the casting couch. Dude, it's not even remotely the fucking same. Is every couch the casting couch? Get your mind out of the gutter. Get your mind out of the gutter. Fucking goon brain. No, it's just a couch. It's a normal couch. My goodness. I knew somebody was gonna say some shit like that. They're gonna say casting couch. Predictable. Die. Predictable. So predictable. Here we are. I knew it was gonna happen, but I'm still disappointed. A low-hanging fruit.
Would you fear white people or black people? And that's the difference. The difference
I'm
is
not. What I'm saying to
you
you is, by your logic, if we now have agreed that the vast majority of mass shootings in schools are committed by white people and predominantly young white men, then presumably your advice would be to avoid young white men because they perpetrate these massacres. But it won't be because they're white, right?
So are you playing dumb or are you actually dumb?
Maybe
it's
I'm
about
dumb.
proportionality.
Maybe I'm dumb.
You are because you're, well, I don't think you are dumb. I think you're smart actually, but you're deliberately avoiding per capita. And everybody knows that's the difference. What proportion of white men are school shooters? It's probably 0.00001%. What proportion of black men have committed violent crimes? It's probably like 5%. Like I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but it's very high. And I would add to that, even as it concerns schools, why do you think parents pay a super high
technically,
property tax?
if it's 4 to 6%, let's say, commit murders, by definition, that's violent crime. And that doesn't include all of the violent criminals that don't commit murder. So it's probably, I don't know what it would be. It's a minimum 4 to 6%. Maybe we're talking 10%. Who knows? Maybe more. That's pretty... Talk about a dice roll you do not want to take. He took a business course from Andrew Tate. He's an entrepreneur. Yeah. I've started my budding entrepreneur business. Yeah. I'm in the Andrew Tate business of finding incredible talent. I'm scouting for talent and I'm signing them for incredible deals involving entertainment and talent. Very talented, extremely talented. Many of them. Men need not apply. Yeah, I'm in Romania. At the moment. But where's your Bugatti? The Matrix is attacking. I was driving my Bugatti.
To live in a school district where there's white people, because they know that if they go to the black school, it's going to be the Bloods and the Crips. It's going to be gangs. It's going to be, you talk about school shootings. Nobody talks about all the school shootings that are committed by gangbangers in and around the school and all the other violence that's associated with that. I mean, these schools in the south side of Chicago, it's just not livable.
I have an answer for you, Nick. So the proportion of the population who carry out mass shootings is actually the same for black and white.
For white people, the proportion of...
Dude. Bruh. Dude. My guy. My friend. So he just said essentially what we just said. 60%? What do you say? 65% mass shooters are white? That's about what white people are, 58 to 65% of the population, somewhere in there. That's pretty, and so he just confirmed that, but that's not what Nick is talking about. So maybe he really is just stupid. It's like that wasn't the question. It's not how proportional is it to the general white population? It's really 1 for 1. The question was, what proportion of the white population are mass shooters? And it's a very distinct, super duper, ultimate mega minority. It is so minute. And everybody knows that, man. Man. What a brick.
The proportion
again,
of the population.
Are you hearing it? No.
See, I think the trouble with your statistics is a lot of them don't bear much scrutiny. We have a bunch of fact checkers checking all this in real time because you do have a tendency to just come out with a lot of old baloney.
The fuck is wrong with this retard? There's no way. There's no fucking way. The arrogance. The arrogance. Holy shit. I'm taking damage, dude. That one, like, I was already low HP. I'm low HP today. I'm pretty tired. But fuck, man. I'm hit with a stacking debuff. It's getting harder and harder, man. Shit. I need, like, anyone got bandages? I gotta, like, heal up real quick. Fuck, dude. Res me. Please, I need a res. I have ray gun, please. Please, I have ray gun. Please res me. That was brutal. It's just like, you know, but this is like so typical with these liberals that just like, well, that statistic doesn't support my hypothesis, so I'm going to pretend like I don't understand. It's like, dude, like, you just, like, holy shit, man. Is your stream buffering, or is it you? I don't know. Is it buffering? I don't think it's buffering. I don't have any dropped frames. Anybody else buffering? Or is like the McDonald's throttling your internet connection? They're telling you it's time to wrap it up because they're going to close soon. Maybe speed through this. Nick is going to ask for denominator and numerator. Okay. Okay. Dude, I just like, I will say this. I feel like my patience for, I don't even want to call it stupidity, but I guess what else would you call it? Just this disingenuine line of question. I'm just like, my patience is just like non-existent now for that. Like, how do you just not know what Nick is talking about?
And when you say, you know,
okay,
well, it's true. And when you're confronted with reality, you don't like it.
What's the figure? What proportion of white people have committed school shootings? With white people as the denominator and white people that have committed school shootings as the numerator, what's that percentage?
For both black and whites, the proportion of the population who carry out mass shootings generally is about the same.
No, yet, tell me the number, and then
the only focus of your attention is the black shootings, the black crime. You don't want to live around black people. You want to avoid black people. You don't want interracial marriages or relationships that may produce black people. And yet, when I point out to you that there are many parts of crime in America where actually there's a majority of white people that perpetrate them, you don't care. You don't have any interest in that. It doesn't exercise your mind. Maybe because
no one's buying this. This argument lost. No one is buying this. Everybody understands per capita, and people can even see what you race ahead and say, well, we're comparing the proportion of white and black school shooters. I said, no, compare the proportion of school shooters that are white versus violent criminals that are black, because that was the basis of the monologue, is that you're very likely, if you encounter black people or a young black man in the city, that you're going to be the victim of a violent crime, of a robbery, a mugging, a car theft, a carjacking, or a murder. That's the difference, and it's about proportionality. And everybody sees past that because we all live in reality. You want to talk about product of your environment? People that live in New York, Chicago, LA, we live in reality. We live in this environment, and we see what it's like. And the threat, the danger, in terms of probability, it's not even comparable. And I would say this, to your point. If you're in a high school and truly, if you see a white person who looks like a little autistic, he's got the SSRI stare, and he reaches for a backpack, people joke and say, run. Similarly, if you see a jalopy pulling up with a bunch of black people in it and they got their pants around the ankles, you're going to run also. And I'm saying the same thing. The difference is the latter happens much more often. It's much more common. You know, in Chicago, there's like 10,000 carjackings and car thefts every day. It's in the thousands. It happens all the time. How many mass shootings committed by autistic SSRI white people? I don't even know. I mean, it's probably in the single digits in the last decade in the city. That's the difference, and everybody knows that. But you're really just trying to carry water for liberal ideology. It's an ideological position.
No, I'm really not. I can absolutely say, yes, there is way too much black on black crime, for example, involving guns in Chicago.
And black on white also.
Yes, but there is way too much gun violence in Chicago. right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
it's indisputable. I've got no problem saying that. The difference is
Okay.
I don't then lead myself into a thought process where I have to avoid all black people in case they shoot me. And you've already conceded that you are a racist. So when people hear you then say, I don't want to be living anywhere near black people, they already have heard you say, I'm a racist. So they assume you're doing that because of people's skin color. I don't think you would probably dispute that, right?
You see about the latest tweet about Finkel Jew? He lied about his ancestors being killed. It's all on Wikipedia. Yeah, I saw that. I did see that. I think I bookmarked. Did I bookmark it? Yep, I did. Got some explaining to do. Wow. Jewish person lying about their ancestors dying in the Holocaust? That never happens. That's crazy. Me mom and dad
Things. The monologue
died in a hullabaloo.
Black people. That was after Irina Zarutska got shot, and it's true. I mean, they are a largely in this city in Chicago, the South Side, the West Side, huge criminal population, and I don't want to live anywhere near it. And I do. I want to live in a white neighborhood. I think that that's extremely desirable, and I think even black people.
Again, Nick, you're perfectly entitled to that view. But when you have obviously prefaced all this by saying, I am a racist, unashamedly, then people will assume that all your thought processes about all of these issues are driven by an aversion to people based on their skin color, which is the purest personification of racism.
Well, it's not an aversion. I would say it's the opposite. I like my own people. My own people are familiar to me, and I think that's true across the board. I think that people seek out other people that are like themselves, and every other group does this, whether it's blacks, Hispanics, Asians. You know, I get a lot of attacks when I talk about that I'm against interracial marriage. And what's funny is that every other group is against interracial or interethnic marriage. Jews,
but you're the
Chinese,
product of an
Hispanics.
interracial marriage.
Yeah, I mean, that's debatable.
Not
Let's say
really.
for the sake
Not
of argument,
really.
sure.
No, you're the product of an interracial marriage, and your father is part Mexican. You're literally,
For the sake of
you're
argument,
literally
we
the
could
very
say sure.
person you've just told me.
That
you
doesn't
want to
mean
avoid.
you. Okay.
What race?
Like, just because you're the product of it doesn't mean you can't be against it on principle. Like, if anything, does that not make Nick have a stronger position because it goes against his interests? It would be a lot easier for Nick to be in favor of interracial marriages if, let's assume that the presupposition is correct, that he is a product of an interracial marriage, because that would make him a product of it more acceptable. So if anything, he's going against his own personal interests on principle. I think it's a more admirable position to take. But again, that doesn't disprove or debunk the criticisms of interracial marriage, which are many. There are many. There are problems that arise from that. And so simply saying, but you're mixed race, it's like, okay, yeah, but that doesn't disprove the argument for why you shouldn't do it. You know, that's not a good counter argument, actually.
Race is Hispanic. Is that a race?
Well, what do you think it is?
I'm asking you, what race is Hispanic?
Hispanic. Of course it's a race. It's called Hispanic.
Bro.
It's a mix between two races. It's a mix between indigenous Americans.
It certainly can be.
Well,
it certainly can be if, like, you have like a white Mexican that is like a purely Spanish lineage, or a German Mexican. Maybe they have 5% indigenous blood in them. Okay, so it's clearly like a mix. Ugh. Like, seriously, dude. Like, yeah. You know, you look at some of these Mexicans, and they have like blonde hair and blue eyes, green eyes. It's like, yeah, they clearly have European phenotypes because they have predominantly European ancestry. So, like, even if they had like like 10% indigenous, it's a distinct minority of their genome.
apparently you're more of a racial purist than me. You got like
Not
a
really.
one-drop
You just
rule
keep
thing
saying you
going,
only want to live
kind
in a
of.
white neighborhood, but you're literally from a mixed race background yourself. You've literally
Yeah, and
got
I live in
Mexican blood.
I know, and I live in a non-white neighborhood too. I'm trying to get out of here, though. But I'm trying to get out. But here's the thing:
Do you have any
is I was
non-white?
saying-
Do you have any non-white friends? Genuine question.
Most of my friends are non-white. Most of my friends are not.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
non-white people love
Never
my
ask
show.
a white supremacist what the race of his friends are. Never ask a white supremacist what the race of his friends are. It's so true, man. It's so true.
Respect the honesty.
How many of your friends are black?
Many of them, like at least a dozen.
Wow.
Ye being one who you know, Sneeko being another who you also know.
Yeah. And so how do they feel when you say you just want to be away from any black people, walk away from them?
Well, you know what Ye told me? I'll tell you verbatim what he said. That it doesn't come from a place of, and you use the word aversion.
Oh, they cut it out, dude. The fuck? That's crazy. I did see the clip.
Told me, I'll tell you verbatim what he said. That it doesn't come from.
Bruh. Uncensored, by the way. He said, well, when neighbors are being neighbors.
A place of, and you use the word aversion. That's the first thing I'll actually dispute.
Okay.
It's not an aversion on the basis of skin color, because that would seem to suggest it's like a stubborn, irrational bigotry. I don't consider myself a bigot. I consider myself a racial realist. I'm realistic about how the races are, and I speak provocatively.
That's crazy. They just cut that out. That's so cucked, man. That's so cucked. Yeah, editors know on the platform, on this platform only, after live stream ended, we decided to cut 2 short uses of the N-word. Okay. All right, I got, to be honest, I guess that's fair. It is YouTube. You know how YouTube is. I have to self-censor shit.
Provocatively about it, and I speak provocatively
Like I just
about our
did.
tribalistic instincts and tendencies as human beings. And I'm not a liberal ideologue that says that over time and with enough education, we're all going to see.
Why not just like bleep it out or something? Can you do that? Can you do that after the fact?
This great brotherhood where we're colorblind and everybody's the same. You know, I don't think that's ever going away. I think that race is real. It's not just skin deep. It matters to us and it matters to each other. And black people know that, and Hispanics know that, and Asians know that, and people like me that have partial Mexican ancestry, we know that too. And I think on that basis, we can have mutual respect and understanding, not aversion based on skin color.
The reason I use the word aversion is you literally said that you should walk the other way if you see black people. That is an aversion to black people based on their skin color.
No, that's called economy of information. That's economy of information. That's safety.
You don't know all these black people, so all you have to go off of are statistics, are stereotypes, and probability. That's all. It's a great way Nick is putting it, but yeah, it's you simply don't know, and so you're rolling the dice. You don't know who these people are, so you go off of the information that you do have, and that's statistics.
And I said in the same monologue, if you watch it, it's like, I feel sorry. The problem is you clipped it 10 seconds. I don't know if you watched the whole show, but in that monologue, I said, most black people are not violent or criminals. I said, and it's unfortunate that we're going to offend them when we turn and walk the other way. I said, but the problem is we don't know. We can't tell. And someone like Irina Zarutska, she sat down in front of a black man with her headphones in and wasn't paying attention because she was being a good liberal and said, I'm not uncomfortable by this. I'm progressive. Then she got stabbed in the neck. And I said, it's unfortunate that you would have to sit behind the black man to be safe. And if he's not violent or schizophrenic, he might be offended by that. I said, but I would rather offend him than die.
How many deranged white men have committed atrocious acts of murder in the last 10 years in America?
But what about?
Far fewer. Fewer.
How many? Do you know how many?
You have a research team. You pull it up.
You're very big on. You're obviously extremely exercised by that one story, which was horrific, for the record, absolutely horrific, and should never have happened. The person who perpetrated that evil act had a string of previous offences and should have been picked up more, and it should have been amplified more. I completely concur with all of that. But I just suspect you have no idea how many white people have committed similar crimes, do you?
No, because I know it's far fewer from experience. Because it's like you said. Well, and hang on, and I would add to that, Irina Zarutska wasn't the first one. That was also after Austin Metcalf was killed in Texas.
Sure.
After
But
Carmelo
how many
Anthony
times has it
stabbed
been
him in the
perpetrated
neck.
by white people?
Well, hang on, let me finish my point.
But you're
And then
implying
not
that white
only
people don't do this. And my point to you, Nick Fuentes,
Oh man, dude, what a weasel.
is of course,
I never said white people don't do it.
Deranged white people commit heinous acts, but you don't either know.
disagreement.
You neither know nor care, or maybe both. Maybe you do know but don't care. You only seem to be focused on black people who commit crimes. And again, if you hadn't prefaced the whole debate about racism by openly conceding you are a racist, I could read other connotations into what you've been saying. But once you've said, I'm a racist, and then you only talk about black crime, I think people can watch this and they can say, yeah, he is. He's a racist. And everything that he says about crime is driven through the prism of being a racist who judges people according to their skin color.
Well, it's funny because it's quite on the contrary. And I said this in a similar monologue. You know, the problem is not that I wake up and I walk down the street and I see someone that doesn't look like me and it makes me angry. The problem is there's a pattern of behavior, which we've all seen. Blacks in America have become narcissistic, and they become narcissistic because they've been told they're victims of racism, they're victims of slavery. They've been told, really, there's no accountability. If they're rude, if they're inconsiderate, if they're criminal, they are told that they have no agency for their actions. They're being told, if you act in this way, it's because the white man made you that way. It's because the system's rigged against you. And so we have been telling black people this for a generation, and now there's no rules. Now they go, and what we hate to see as decent people, not even as white people, but decent people, even black people too, what we hate to see is rudeness, obnoxiousness, inconsideration, criminality, violence. And that's that pattern of behavior that we see all over social media, on
so
the
just to
body
be clear,
cam footage,
you
on
don't like
Fox.
you don't like black people who play the victim and are rude. Is that your position?
I don't like that pattern of behavior.
And who are narcissists?
I see where this is going.
Yeah, you're ahead of me.
Turn this around on
you're
me.
ahead of me, aren't you? Because when I said,
Very
what
clever.
black friends have you got? You said,
I am kind of black,
Yay.
aren't I?
No, not that. You said,
Oh, Yay
I'm not
also.
saying you. I'm just saying your choice of black friend is Ye, who is arguably the #1 black victimhood narcissist in America. Do you understand the problem? So he's your friend. He's one of the very few black people you want to be associated with, but he's the epitome of what you just said you abhor about narcissistic black people.
I disagree. I disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. Because Ye, if you've ever met him in real life,
I have, yeah.
Okay, well then you know he's nothing but polite, considerate.
Actually, he was very rude to me the last 2 times I interviewed him. He's a supreme narcissist, and he's also.
You keep interrupting me. You're very rude. Are you black?
I
Because you're being very rude
apologize.
about
I
interrupting me right
apologize
now.
to you.
I'm giving you a hard time, but I
okay,
do want to
give me a
finish
hard
my
time.
point. I do want to finish my point about Ye. He is a guy who, when I was with him, wanted to make sure that everybody was heard. Everybody felt included. He's actually a very soft-spoken guy, very polite, and by the way, not violent. When you look at all the rappers that are in the music game, many of them, especially from Chicago, drill rap, they're talking about killing people, shooting people, they gangbang. He notably, if you know about him, he got his start because he was a nerd. He wore a backpack and a polo, and he wasn't a gangbanger.
Everything I am.
His feelings and girls and his dreams and his ambitions. So no, and by the way, he would tell me all the time, he doesn't even feel black. They make him feel not black because he doesn't do those things, because he's soft-spoken, because he's artistic, because he's a bit of a nerd or likes fashion. So I would disagree. He's actually not like that at all. But
Okay.
we're talking
He's also a Hitler-loving anti-Semite. And we're going to take a little commercial break here. And we're going to come back and talk about anti-Semitism and your views about Jewish people, and indeed what you have to say about the same subject matter.
Oh, I'll smell you're on Twitch now.
Documentary. It's called Thank You, Dr. Fauci, and you're going to hear a lot more about it over the next few months. Award on real stories. You can find out more at
Wow, shilling for Fauci.
/Piers. Become a member, stream Thank You, Dr. Fauci, and be part of a conversation
That's crazy.
demanding truth and accountability. Okay, back with Nick Fuentes. Let's just turn to anti-Semitism. In your interview with Stephen Crowder last week, you answered emphatically that you don't hate all Jews. Is that correct? That's your position?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to play you this clip.
Well, I don't hate any
Check out the short on your YouTube channel.
Jews. Let me just amend
your
that.
YouTube
I don't
channel.
hate any Jews.
Okay. Let's play this clip.
The reason I've had it is because my opposition to world Jewry and Israel is rooted in absolute, uncontestable fact. We have the truth on our side. That's why we're winning. Because we are telling the truth about the historical antagonism between Jews and Europeans, between Jews and Christians. The theological, historical, racial, cultural, and political antagonisms between organized Jewry and the Christians, organized Jewry and Europeans. And the reason that we are winning that argument is because it's real, it's true. I can prove it.
I wouldn't let you say in the YouTube chat, so I came here. It's probably the AI moderator. I have to look at that. I don't want to pull up right now because I only have one monitor. If I look at the AI mod, but it's probably pretty aggressive. It probably flagged it as like spam. I had to guess.
can show you. I can name the names. I can show you the
What's it about? What's the short?
paper trail, the money. That is why we're winning. That is why all of this is raising the consciousness.
When you say you have this opposition to world Jewry, I mean, it's one thing to criticize, for example, the Israeli government over what it's been doing in Gaza. I've done that myself. When you talk about world Jewry, I presume you're talking about the 15 million Jews in the world, and you are opposed to them. How does that square with your position that you don't hate any Jews?
Wait, okay if thought outside the box, a clip from the show. This better not be like gorilla porn or something. Oh no. Bruh. Oh, thanks for that. Thanks for that.
Well, do you take issue with my use of the term
Thanks.
world Jewry?
Well, what do you mean by that?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. Okay, all right. Dude, it's getting hot in here. Let's turn the AC on. That's wild. Doesn't even look like the same. Dude, I was supposed to get a haircut yesterday, man. Fuck. They canceled. A different haircut place, obviously. It's like, why? What does it take for a guy to just get a fucking haircut in this? Man. You have a clip. I know. I have a clipper. And it's a clip. I'll say that. It's a clip. It's a clip. It exists. You've been busting up for the last 10 minutes. Shit. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh shit. Anyway. Anyway.
Or do you take issue with it? Do you have a problem with that?
Clarify what you mean by it.
By the way, is Nick going live tonight? 10:40. Might be one of those nights. Lots to talk about, lots to get into. Big show. It's actually a pretty slow news day. Not a lot going on. It's end of the year. Things tend to slow down around this time of the year. He's already in super chats. No, he's not. Wait. No, you're trolling me. Yeah. Okay. Imagine. Imagine it's the whole show is just super chats. Would you? Hey Nick, what advice would you give on what I should homeschool my child? Hey Nick, how can I get involved? Hey Nick, any book recommendations? Hey Nick, what do you think about the Jews? Hey Nick, thoughts on Liberia? Hey Nick, hey Nick. Dude, I don't know about James Fishback, candidate for Florida government, says Nick Fuentes' followers are patriotic. The young men who watch Nick Fuentes tend to be incredibly informed and insightful. I don't know much about James Fishback. I'll give you my initial gut level assessment. Granted, like I just said, I don't know much about him. I don't really trust him. I don't know. Something. It feels like a grift. That's my initial 2 cents. I'd love to be proven wrong. It's just my gut level. Not really grounded in facts or anything like that. I'm not invested in the Florida governor race, obviously. But Yeah. Somebody said he has Jewish ancestry, which, you know. But I don't know. That's cool. It says a little dot on here. Little bump for the left. So if you're not looking, you know which one's left and which one's right. That's kind of cool. Anyway. Ah, dude. Ian Carroll. Fuck this guy, man. Oh, no. Should we just, like, hate watch Candace Owens? We could do that, too. We could just hate watch Candace Owens. That's content. She'll always provide the content. Say what you will. It is kind of entertaining hearing her retarded ramblings. Candace Owens struggles to say compartmentalize, and it says, and instead says compartmentalize. Oh no. Oh no.
That well, now the widow has spoken. We're not dealing with the widow. We want the CEO and the chairman of Turning Point USA to answer. Okay? You got, if you can't compartmentalize, then
what? The fuck does that?
And the chairman of Turning Point USA to answer. Okay? You got, if you can't compartmentalize, then
What the fuck are you talking? What was she even trying to say? What? Huh? What? What the fuck?
I Point USA to answer.
To answer.
Okay? You got, if you can't compartmentalize, then I don't see how.
Even if she got the word right, that doesn't make any fucking sense. This bitch is retarded. She's illiterate. What is she saying? Holy shit, man.
How you're going to be able to lead this organization in the future, because Charlie worked. We knew who Charlie was because he was authentic. Okay. He didn't just go, well, I only make time for like big pocket donors.
Dude, she gets 150,000 live viewers like every day, bro. Just think about that for a second. Just like, just. Dude,
Okay, you guys.
Fuck, bro. That's a lot of retards. That's a lot of retards. That's a lot of dumbasses. That's a lot of schizo, low IQ, mouth breathing goy. Holy shit. Bro. I think she said complimentalize. No modification makes sense. I don't know what she was going for. If you can't compartmentalize that, even if she said it right, how does that make sense? How does that make sense? She's just like, I need a word to sound smart right now. Compartmentalize. Yeah, close enough. Dude, bro. This is giving me violent diarrhea, man. This is giving me brain aneurysms. Serious political commentator, by the way. Serious journalist, by the way. Has a tenuous grasp on the English language. She's teetering. It's barely It's hanging on by a thread. Just, does she know more than like 1,000 words total? Like, seriously. She's like imitating, she's like a child imitating people that are smarter than her. Smart people use big words all the time. I gotta sound intelligent. I gotta sound educated and shit. Compartmentalize. Shit, close enough. You can take Candace out of the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto out of Candace, bro. She is not smart, man. And Tucker Carlson is just lent his credibility to her today. You believe that? I mean, I believe it, but yeah, serious political movement, by the way. Candy backed out of her deal to go silent if Erica called her out. Complimentalize, you can't say it. I think she said complimentalize instead. Daily Candace crash out your favorite part of the stream. Well, congratulations. Here we are. Here we are, dude. Considering you guys have already seen this, maybe we will just shift gears and I'll just finish this on my own time. Because I we've gotten the gist. It's maybe, I guess we could look at the, when does he bring on Mr. Shlomo? When does that happen? Oh, here it is. Maybe we'll skip ahead. Yeah, I'm taking damage. If you can't handle Piers, you're not going to make it through Candy. You don't have the armor or skills. I'm under leveled, bro. I'm under leveled. But, 15 minutes. Okay, Nick is going live in 15 minutes. I'm just so... dude, that's how I felt today, man. That's the perfect emote. That's the perfect emote. 15 minutes, okay. All right. So I guess we'll wrap it up here pretty soon. Dude. Holy, look at this face. That's the face of an intellect. That's the face. That's what she's doing to me. That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. Okay. All right. Well, if you want to, feel free to clip the stream as much as you like. Honestly, wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be funny if Smelly gets more subscribers than I do off clip? Can you imagine? Smelly gets to 500 subs before I do. That would just be like, that would just be so perfect. That would just be so typical, you know? Yeah, W clip. But go ahead. You want to clip it up as much as you want. Yeah, get to 500 subs. You can monetize your channel and all that. Do whatever you want. I give you permission. Anyway. 15 minutes, huh? So that's probably more like 25 at the minimum. Being realistic here. That doesn't come off as disloyal. I'm playing ahead here a little bit. We gotta get emotion engine at some point too. You'll actually give it a go. I appreciate you because I expressed my issue with editing and all that. I am not. Look, it's hard enough for me to like press go live on OBS. I'm like not built for this, to be honest. Like I'm kind of retarded. But whatever. Woe is me, right? Look at some emotion engine. Emotional damage. Let's cue this up. Let's cue this up for when it's go time. When it's go time. Bro, do we do it? Do we dive in? Can you change the song to Alexi's Love Story Hard Style? What even is that? Hard Style. Yay only, WW. Do you want to hop in the Rari? That's such a good song. You know, dude. Cousins is a goated song. I get my cousin. I get my cousin. I get my cousin here. Oh shit. It's so good. It's so good. I love it. Get my cousin. Get my cousin. Get my cousin. Get my cousin. Only yay, dude. Only yay. The audio quality's kind of shit on this upload. Maybe it's my headphones. Better on Spotify. I thought I was gay.
Nitrous don't help me, it just put me in a trance. I'm talking about euphoria, I'm not talking about a man. Told her don't leave me, cause I need you by my side. As long as you don't leave me,
That's good. That's so good.
In that one time that you left me, I didn't get no sleep that night. In that one time that you left me, I took 10 perks to get high. 10 perks to get high. Pray that I don't die. What if I die? You in the sky. 2 bites of the quake, quake. Don't leave, just stay, babe. Let's go on a vacay. Leave the world behind.
It's so good. It's actually so good.
Leave the world behind. Nitrous don't help me, it just put me in a trance. I'm talking about euphoria, I'm not talking about a man. Told her don't leave me, cause I need you by my side. As long as you don't leave me, then I'll probably be alright. Then I'll probably be alright.
Get back to your crew. Get my cousin. W.
10 perks to get high. Pray that I don't die. What if I die? You in the sky. 2 bites of the quake, quake. Don't leave, just stay. Let's go on a vacay. Leave the world behind.
So good. So good. See a bridge version. bro begged his cousin not to tell anyone, then told the whole world. He's just telling his truth, man. Why is everybody hating on him, man? That's how you know he's a real artist. He's a real artist. He's very brave. Very brave and willing to be vulnerable for the sake of the art. W. Big W. It's already clipped and should. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't make me look gay, please. Bruh. Bruh. Hang on. I mean, bruh. Like, bruh. Like, bruh. Like, bruh, what is we doing? What is we doing? What is we doing, bro? What's going on, Candy? What's going on here, bitch? Ah, shit. What is going on? It's a sign of deep thought. I wonder what she's pondering. I wonder what's going on in there. Candace. I wonder what kind of profound thoughts are running through her brain. That's the face of an intellectual. That's the face of a deep thinker. You think she has a thinking room just like Fuck, what's that? I already forgot his name. What's that guy's name again? Iranian dude. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's been a long day. I'm tired. Okay. Bro, so let me clip on real quick. I mean, come on. Look. What's going on in there? Now I'm ready for the Candyland level. Bro, she should have been on that portrait. That room in the thinking room. Instead of Tupac, it should have been Candy. Should have been Candy Owens. What a missed opportunity, man. Not serious. Not serious. Not serious. I mean, bro. Okay. All right. Yeah, okay. Okay. All right. Tarkov clips. Tarkov. I've been playing a lot of Tarkov lately. It's got me. It's got me, man. I didn't realize the creator of Minecraft was misogynistic. What's the context here? Hey, yo! Is that Gal Gadot? Make her beautiful, they just put Gal Gadot in. Sexualizing a female character in video games does not make her beautiful. Okay, dude. What are you? Come on. I hate to pull that card, but like, I hope she sees this, bro. I hope she sees this. I hope she sees this and she lets you hit. For real. I'm a male feminist. W Asmongold, just telling how it is, you know? We like our women hot, you know? Who likes ugly bitches? Nobody. Nobody likes ugly bitches. Except other ugly bitches, because that are slightly more attractive than those other ugly bitches, because it makes them look better by comparison. But that's about it. Don't be ugly. Don't be ugly. It's not hard. It's very simple. Why are these in my For You? Why do I care about Kristen Stewart? Like, I don't. Ugh. Anyway, dude, I'm just koi scrolling now. Okay. Shit, what rolled over my cable? What was I doing? Oh yeah. Okay. Nick Fuentes, if you can hear me, please save me. Please go live right now. Nick Fuentes, if you can hear me, please save me. Please go live right now. Please go live right now. Please. Please. Please go live right now. So I don't have to subject myself to this. Let's just check in. Before we dive, let's just check in. What's going on, big guy?
And Jesus Christ is our beauty.
Damn it. Okay. All right. Okay. No running. Hey, how about a little bit of emotion and a little bit of emotion engine? How about a little bit of You guys like emotion engine, right? You guys like emotion engine. Not gonna lie, I kind of perked up as the stream went on. I was like feeling pretty dead at the start, but I'm like, I gotta stream, I gotta do it. Maybe it was the caffeine from this Dr. Pepper, but he's prioritizing. He wants to ally with Russia against China. I think that's a big part of the diplomacy. And it's something that should have happened 30 years ago, quite frankly. That would have been the better move. But we can't really ignore all the hostilities that have taken place since then, so we'll see. Cooked. Cooked. Okay, my For You is kind of retarded today. I don't know what Elon did to the algorithm, but where are my racist memes? Hey, Elon. Not singing up racism. Crank up the dial on the racism, please. Joking, of course. Racism is bad and all, yeah. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification, stay up to date. Follow my socials. I'll be live tomorrow. I'm shooting for earlier. I might be later on Friday. I was gonna go to the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe. Did everybody have a good Feast of the Immaculate Conception? That was good. Day of obligation, so if you didn't go, that's not good. Yeah. Anyway, that's on Friday. But tomorrow it should be, what did I say, 6:30 to 7? No. Santa Pack. That time of year. What am I been live for? 3 hours? Okay, not bad, not bad. Oh, I need to set up notifications, don't I? Yeah, I don't have any like notifications or anything. Somebody could send in like $1,000 or something. I wouldn't even know. Oh no, don't do that. That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. Night Forge. Good night, good night, good night. Good night, everybody. We're just waiting for Nick to go live. When did you say 15 minutes? About 15 minutes ago.
Okay, you guys. Now, I wasn't sure about Erica. I was waiting, kind of a situation for her to be in, obviously, having lost her husband.
Obviously. It's so obvious.
The CEO and the chairman of a company. It's just a lot of transition.
Everything is just so obvious. You're
wait for more information.
a genius like Candace.
Or you prejudge or just assume, make an assumption.
That is so rich. You just got to wait for more information before you prejudge. Oh, wow. You should have taken your own advice.
About somebody and it maybe is not based in reality. Well,
not a shred of irony in that statement. Not a shred of irony in that statement. This bitch is psycho.
we are getting a lot more of Erica Kirk this week. I'll tell you that because she has been doing the rounds in the media really over the last couple of weeks. And she just gave an interview live with Harris Faulkner on Fox News.
You know what I think the title, unless something changes, tomorrow's title will probably be like, Candace Owens is a psycho bitch or something. I don't know, like I'll have to play with it because obviously censorship and all that, they're not going to let me, but I'll figure it out.
Where she finally addressed the quote unquote.
I think tomorrow will just be a full on, we're just going to A-log Candace all day tomorrow. I think that's the plan. Oh, GBY means God bless you, by the way. I didn't know that. Well, God bless you too, Mr. Forge. I thought that was like goodbye. I thought that meant goodbye. So I'm like, goodbye. I didn't know that.
Conspiracy theories, and I have to say this because it's true, but it completely missed the mark. For me, I am sorry, it just has. But the good news is that she
I
is now.
I missed what you
Half Fox
said.
News a couple of weeks, and she just gave an interview live with Harris Faulkner on Fox News, where she finally addressed the quote unquote conspiracy theories. And I have to say this because it's true, but it completely missed the mark for me. I am sorry, it just has. But the good news is that she is now unmurkying the water in terms of her intentions with this.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Candace say that if Erica Kirk told her to stop, then she would? Almost like, kind of how like Martin Luther said he would stop if the Pope told him to stop. And the Pope did tell him to stop. And he was like, nah, I'm not. I'm going to keep doing it, though. He was like, I'm going to pretend like I didn't read that. Pulled like a Piers Morgan. I'm going to pretend like the Pope didn't really, you know, I'm going to pretend like I didn't understand exactly what he just said. But what's going on there? What's going on? What's Candace? Candace. Just never going to quit, never going to stop, never back down.
Massive political
never
organization.
What?
That's good news, truly, because we knew Charlie, and now we are getting an opportunity to know
The
Erica.
loopholes, yeah.
Plus, later on in the show,
Loopholes.
it's Knives Out for Tucker Carlson. As always, he's trending right now because he has officially waded into the who killed Charlie Kirk narrative.
Every show for, I'm not wearing a watch. What, 3 months? About 3 months now. Almost every show, just new information about Charlie Kirk. Who killed Charlie Kirk? I wonder. What if it's aliens? What if Charlie Kirk isn't actually dead? What if Bibi Netanyahu personally, like, jumped out of a helicopter and, like, 360 no-scoped Charlie Kirk when nobody was watching? It was him. It was the Egyptians, too. They assisted. They were flying the helicopter. That's why they took off from Provo. It was never a plane. It was a helicopter. Duh. It all makes sense now. Obviously. And the maroon shirts, well, they were part of it, too. They were securing the perimeter the whole time. That's what they were there for. They were there to secure the perimeter and to throw people off the scent. Because if people look at the maroon shirts, they're not looking in the sky, where they should have been looking, because they would have seen Benjamin Netanyahu personally. And as he was jumping out of the helicopter, he said, "Fuck you, you stupid goy," and shot him in the neck. Of course, obviously. Why didn't we think of this? Of course. Brigitte Macron, she was co-piloting the whole time. That's the part that they don't want you to know. It was an Egyptian pilot, but Brigitte Macron was co-piloting. And she was assisting in the throttle action on the helicopter, assisting with the joystick to keep the helicopter level with her cock, you see. Of course, because she has a penis. And that's what they're for flight controls. So she's managing the hydraulic pressure and the seismic activity of the helicopter and the frenetic waves of the turbine, of the main rotor of the helicopter, so that they can get a perfectly stable altitude projection so Netanyahu can jump out and get a clear shot seamlessly. So it's not rocky, obviously. It's all coming together now. Of course, the Egyptians were in on it. The CIA, too, of course. Who do you think the brown shirts were, or the maroon shirts were? They were all CIA, of course. That's what they were there for. It was Mossad, it was Netanyahu, it was Egypt, it was Brigitte Macron's penis and balls. Can't forget the balls. People like to talk about his penis. It's a he. It's Brigitte Macron is a dude. I always forget about the balls. We can't forget about balls. We don't forget about the balls on the Candace Owens shows. We remember the balls. Obviously. So, basically, and the bees. We can't forget about the bees. Did we mention the bees? I don't think we mentioned the bees yet. But the beekeepers, well, that's a code for the helicopters. Because helicopters are like big, giant bees. Except they're not yellow, they're black. But that's the part that they leave out all the time. Obviously. So. And we like to think critically on the Candace Owens show. We like to think very critically. Bridget Macron's penis wrist pistol. Yeah, she was they, it. I don't know. Where was Bridget Macron's penis during all of this? They checked. Did they pat that down? Carrying a lethal weapon? Excuse me, ma'am, if you are a ma'am. But you appear to be packing some kind of firearm down there. We're going to have to inspect. We're going to have to inspect to make sure you're not some kind of terrorist trying to kill Charlie Kirk. And Candace Owens. Candace Owens, her life is at risk, you know. You never know if Bridget Macron's going to pop out of nowhere and with her penis out and try to kill you. You don't know. You don't know. It's better to err on the side of caution. I don't know. That's what I always say. JF Gary B is backing Nick Bridget Macron page. True. We totally forgot about JF. Where's his wife, by the way? Where's his wife? Actually, though, where's his wife? What happened to his wife? Yeah, the French-Canadian connection, of course. French-Canadian, France, Bridget Macron, the Frankists. The Franks, the French. It's all coming together. It's all coming together. The White Lotus, more like Bridget Macron's white cock, you know? It's code. It's coded language. Part of their homosexual demonic sex cult. Obviously. These equal Mormon desert, therefore Kai clips. Where was Kai during this whole event? That's a very pressing matter. Everyone's forgetting about Kai. But not on the Candace Owens show. Because we like to think critically, obviously. It's obvious. I didn't make that clear already. This is groundbreaking shit, guys. This is groundbreaking shit. Look at that. 1.2 million truthers. Truthers. Are you a truther? Hey, aren't we all truthers? Hello, my fellow truthers.
And since he is not a bought and paid for Fed, he is siding with not just the American people, people worldwide.
Did she just claim that Tucker is not a bought and paid for Fed?
Right now, because he has officially waded into the who killed Charlie Kirk narrative. And since he is not a bought and paid for Fed.
You know, you can't just like say stuff, no matter how much you believe it to be true. You know, you can't speak things into existence that are just blatantly not true. No matter how many times you say Tucker Carlson is not a Fed, that doesn't change his history, his background, and who his dad is, actually. He glows. He glows. Candace glows. Ian Carroll glows. They all fucking glow. They all glow. And I'm tired of pretending like they don't. I'm tired of pretending. I'm tired of giving these people the benefit of the doubt or pretending like they're anything other than ops. Because they are. They're ops. They're here to discredit the right wing, knowingly or unknowingly. In the case of Candace, I don't think she knows what the fuck is going on. I think she has some kind of handler, some kind of like, there's probably like a room full of like federal agents sitting there. Like, guys, wait. I have an idea. Like, they're the ones tipping her off. They're the ones like, it's honestly like abuse. It's like, this is honestly retard abuse at this point. Don't we have an obligation to take care of the mentally challenged in this country? This is kind of cruel. They're getting her to believe in the dumbest shit they could possibly. Like, okay, guys, we can top this. We can top this. Last time was Bridget Macron's penis. Before that, it was the Frankists. Bees, the beekeepers, of course. Oh man, dude, they have to have like some kind of running bet going on. Like which agent is gonna get Candace to say the most retarded shit on her show? They're all giving her anonymous tips, and they're getting more and more ridiculous. Somebody's getting a fat bonus at Christmas right now. Hey, good job breaking up the dissident right wing. Good job. Good job, Jeffrey. You did an amazing job. I'm going to buy you a new set of khakis and a quarter zip. Because you've done just such an excellent job being our top Fed. Tucker isn't a Fed, but Nick is. Drooling frog picture. Girl. It's like, seriously, man. Seriously. Seriously. Dude, same thing with Elon. He's a Fed. These people just lie like they breathe. Like they breathe. It's insane. They just keep repeating the same lies no matter how many times it gets debunked. And it's tired at this point. It's so fucking tired. Like, and they're just hoping they can like drown out the noise, that they can just have a megaphone big enough. Dude, it's not 2020 anymore. You know, the playing field is much more level now than it was back then. And you fucking retards get ratioed on every post. Now it's bots. It's bots. Oh, first of all, who's more likely to be botted or like have algorithmic enhanced engagement? Elon fucking Musk, who owns the platform and can literally tweak the numbers, turn a knob, and boost his tweets up 1,000,000%, or Nick Fuentes, who's not even allowed to have a check mark despite having 1 million followers. Who's more likely to be boosted with artificial engagement? It's like, dude, seriously? You like the drooling frog? A good one, yeah. Yeah.
He is.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I almost forgot to put my headphones on. Oh no. What would I do without hearing Candace's sultry voice and her intellect? It's like I'm being enlightened right now.
Not just the American people, people worldwide.
You guys seeing this? What's she looking at? What's she looking at? What's going on? This eye's kind of getting away from her a little bit. What's going on? This is going to here. This is like going over here. What the fuck? She got like googly eyes. What's going on? Candace, what's going on? You know, you're not supposed to look at both cameras at the same time. You're supposed to pick one and focus on that. Like, don't cross-eye that shit. What is... Not a single... Nothing's going on upstairs, dude. It's just... It sounds like... Just white noise. Brother, look at that shit. That is remarkable. That is remarkable. That is... You love to see that. Nick Fuentes, if you can hear... Yeah, Nick, if you can hear me right now, please save us. Nick tweet, we are saved. Live on Rumble right now to talk how Candace is a dumb bitch. Live on this Senate resolution condemn me for anti-Semitism and Candace. Oh, yeah, he actually is talking about Candace. So, oh boy, the saga continues. The saga continues. Yeah, I guess it's time he talks about the resolution. Does seem like a big nothing burger, but still interesting to talk about. But Nick tweet, usually that's another 10 minutes. Usually tweet, it's another 10 minutes. I compliment the live speaker for keeping it together. Big show. Perchance, per maybe. Very serendipitous. Let's just throw out words. Why not, dude? Let's just make some new words up. A fantastical, delish. Big show, great show. I can't even I can't even try to be that retarded. I don't know. Hey, Black Santa. That's kick. Black Santa. Can I get a bike for Christmas? Black Santa steals your bike instead. That's crazy. That's crazy. Starts taking presents from under the tree. Confabulations of the show. Very, very serendimical. Yes. Indubitably. How quaint. Yes. I'm sophisticated. I'm a thinker. I have a thinking room. Patrick Bet David, my thinking room. I think Candace has earned her spot in the thinking room. What do you think? What are we thinking? What are we thinking, guys? What are we thinking? What are we thinking? What's going on? Oh shit, this bitch is stupid. Oh shit. What's going on? What's going on? Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. That's crazy. Oh, man. You know, I didn't like, I just picked a random, I just picked a random freeze frame. It's just the gift that keeps on giving. Holy shit. Amazing Recruisal. So true, King. So true. Or something. Fetal alcohol syndrome. Don't talk to our queen like that. She's beautiful.
And he says that he's not buying the official narrative. And there are some lingering questions. And he confirms what I told you about the Egyptian planes. So let's jump right back into this. Welcome back to Candace.
Did we get the credo yet? No.
Look, I have been very patient. I do.
Really? Really? Because she's been giving patience. She's been giving patience over the last 3 months. Very patient.
Tend to focus on the evidence that's in front of us. Obviously, asking questions when we come up across something that someone has said and it doesn't add up, or if they lied, create a list. And you guys were coming after me because I was saying, look, we can write into our imaginations how Erica is thinking or how she's feeling or what she should be wearing, but she hasn't actually said anything yet, right? That was my stance. She hasn't actually said anything yet. Give her a chance, okay? And now she is making the rounds in the press because Charlie's book, his posthumous book, is coming out about the Sabbath. The rounds in the press because Charlie's book, his posthumous book.
Can the closed captions help us out here a little bit? The closed captions are like, nah, we can't even cover for this bitch. Even the captions are like, shit. Not even the captions can bail her out. Yeah, the hummus book. Charlie Kirk's hummus book. Dude, it's just the gift that keeps on giving. I'm not even trying. It's just like, it's just more. You think you got to the bottom of the barrel. There's just more. It just keeps on giving. It's never ending. It's never ending, man. It's insane.
Is
the post-hummus, his post-hummus book. Gotcha.
Coming out about the Sabbath.
She tried, okay? She tried.
And she's speaking about the quote-unquote conspiracies as she sits down with a lot of these news anchors. So first and foremost, she's sitting down here with Harris Faulkner, and I just want to show you a couple of clips from this sit-down, which is now trending. And she begins by addressing the question, which has been in the air, regarding where Charlie Kirk is buried. That question resurfaced this week in a big way because Milo Yiannopoulos and a few others have asserted with absolute certainty that Charlie has not yet been buried. That's what they're saying. They say they have proof of that. And at first, Harris Faulkner is asking about that claim. Take a listen.
Talk to me about this part of the conspiracies that are out there, this disturbing part that people are trying to guess where Charlie is.
Damn, we're still not at Credo yet.
One thing. Can I have one thing? Can my children have one thing? Everything was public. We will be building.
What is the noise gate on? Like, okay, I know audio. What's going on with the noise suppression here? Do you hear that? I don't think that was on the original clip.
The most beautiful memorial for my husband at Turning Point USA, and it will be for the world to see. And
Do you hear that white noise in the background?
Spectacular, and it will have basically museums.
Like, who calibrated the ducking here? Like, what's going on? Can you? Y'all about to piss me the fuck off, I swear. Y'all are gonna piss me the fuck off.
It
was Fox News.
Judicial system. I do.
Guys, you have professional audio engineers. Do you guys not know how this works? I know I'm speaking into like a what is this, like a $50, $80? How much was this actually? I don't remember. This Blue Yeti I'm using right now while I'm away. Probably not the best audio quality, but look, I'm not a professional. Oh, it's Credo? It's Credo? Shit. Ah, okay. Anyway. Yeah, you know how big that TV soaps used to be? Miss Candy is sliding into that spot, keeping TV America coming back for drama every day. True. Not a real journalist. Love you guys. Crisis King. Love you guys. God bless. You have pericopopulations. I agree. Thank you for the analogy. Yeah, thank you for the analogy show. Oh, you're welcome. Serendipitous, my friend. Scrumptious. Scruples. I bet you 100 Mexican Cokes, several Protestant denominations will come from Charlie's hummus book and adjacent cookbook. Type shit, for real. Type shit. All right, guys. Nick is live. I'll catch you guys all tomorrow. A little bit earlier. I'm shooting for 6:37. Unless something happens or I get 6:37. Thank you guys for watching. Take it easy. Like, comment, subscribe. All that type shit. All right. I'll catch you guys all later. Oh, yeah, now Kumquat shows up. Yeah, now Kumquat. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. 3.5 hours late. Okay. All right, good night, everybody. It's not the fucking casting couch. It's not. It's just a couch. Not everything is the fucking dick down. Not everything is the fuck house, okay? Not everything is. This is not a cum couch. This is a normal couch, okay? Guys, come on. Get your mind out. Fucking lock in. Get a grip. Not on your dick, but on reality. All right, boys. I'll catch you guys all next time. Any last words? I'm sure you're still smelly. If you want to clip the show, feel free. You can monetize your channel if you want. I don't care. It's yours. I am not. That is not my forte. Do whatever you want. You have my permission. Anyway, I'll catch you guys all next time. Peace. As long as it's not like, making me look gay or something. All right, I'll catch you guys. At least not in like a comedic way. Whatever. You know what I'm saying. All right, I'll catch you guys all next time.